All right. Greetings, humans. Howdy doodies. My break's been only 30 minutes. Sucks. I want to watch Martian. Aw, unlucky. Unlucky. Well, I'm going to post it, though, so you can watch it on the old YouTuber-rooney. YouTuber-soony. Get it? Where's Jin, Get Meowth, Corbett, Raffle, and the others? Yeah, can you imagine the collective review from every content creator you've ever heard of from a year or two ago? Man, chat, I hate glasses so much. Someday I'll get LASIK, not have to worry about it anymore. Miss the good old Marshy days when, oh, thank you. All right, it's gonna help me out. Well, we certainly don't need this anymore. How's everybody? I can't see what you're saying anymore, so there's that. Thank you. All right, so in today's exciting episode of Martian Boo Says Things About Cards, I'm going to take a different approach, and that I probably should have been taking this whole time, which is doing the neutrals first. So for this Emerald Dream review, I'm going to start with this amazing card, Scorching Observer. And I get, like, do you guys like the star system, right? I could give you an arbitrary star system if I like, I don't know, if I remember. These are wild focus still. Yeah, I have more of a idea of how good something will be in wild. If I think something will be good in standard, I'll probably say so, but otherwise, you like stars, they shine bright. Nice. So yeah, I guess 3 will be a really good card. 2 will be I could see this popping up somewhere card, and 1 will be this is dust. I think the old 3-star system ought to be perfect for me. Starting off with our first 3-star card on opposite day, we have Scorching Observer. So this is a 9-mana 7/9 rush lifesteal. I guess on its own merits, I would give it a 1-star, but I don't know if there's going to be some kind of demon synergy that goes with this thing, because if you can cheat it out early, obviously it's going to be really good. But you know what? Actually, like, looking at this, kind of excited to possibly Void Caller Skull of the Minari this thing. All right, by the way, I'm gonna be pretty fast and loose with the 2-star. Like, 1-star is going to be unplayable. 2-star is going to be, I have a use for this, I think. All right, so there's going to be a broad range in 2-star, but I think that's fine because it's more stars than you normally get from me, which is none. So I'm gonna give this a 2 now that I've thought about it. Just because, like, Void Caller and Skull of the Minari and other, like, cheat out demon things, this could be actually kind of interesting and wild. All right, so now I've spent like 5 minutes talking about the most irrelevant card in the set. Let's move on. Meadow Strider, 8-mana, 6/11 beast, taunt, death rattle. Put a Meadow Strider on the bottom of your deck. It costs 1. I think this is kind of interesting if you can cheat it out. I don't know what deck would, though, right? Like, any that could, I think it's gonna have a better thing to do. Like, for example, Druid could get this out early. But, like, the Curator is really, really good at 5. Like, like wild quality at 5, I think. So, this is a good Curator target. You just need something that goes with it. I'm going to give it a 1 just because I don't, like, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that's, like, actually worth doing with this as far as cheating it out. But, I'll probably have some fun with it. I have Barkley over. He's whimpering because he's bored. Barkley, come here. Come on. Barkley, come here. Nah, he just wants to stare at the door and whine. All right, so then we have Scavenging Flytrap, 7 mana, 2/7, no tag. After a minion dies, gain its attack. Well, that's an easy one. Don't see that being anything. Spore Gnasher, 5 mana, 1/5, poisonous. Death Rattle, 1 damage to a random enemy minion. When I first saw this, I thought it was 1 damage to all enemy minions, just like at a glance. I was like, really? They put Flurgle Tox all in one card? That's kind of cool. But it only hits 1 enemy minion, so it's quite bad. 1 star. Then we have 5 mana, 5/5, Ancient of Yore. You go dormant for 2 turns, and while dormant, you gain 5 armor and draw a card at the end of your turn. I almost want to give it a 2. I feel like it's a 1, but like it's almost there, right? Like there are some things that could probably go for the 10 armor, draw 2 cards, get a 5/5 in a couple of turns. It's interesting. I don't know. It's probably bad, right? I gotta give it a 1, I think. Oh, I forgot to Killjoy's Trap Sound, thank you so much for the tier 1. And actually, Zenny, my bad. You gave me your Prime earlier. Thank you so much, Zenny. Yeah, I'm a YouTube watcher, but I got to use the Prime somewhere. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for using that here. All right. Then, so I'll give this... I'll give it a 1. Sorry. Like, I'm going to use this somewhere. I don't know that it's, like, has any actual practical use. Then we have Mother Duck. It's a 4 mana 2/3 beast. Battlecry, summon 3 1/1 ducklings with rush. Oh, is Night of the Wild? Hold on. Is that summon now? It's hard to tell because like Hearthstone doesn't update its site very often. Cost 1 less for each beast you've summoned this game. This is discounts your Night of the Wild by 4. We have better ways to do that, don't we? Also summons a 0/0 ugly duckling. Does it? Does it really? Are you read the text? Oh, it's flavor text. But it doesn't actually do that, does it? Bees is better. Well, you wouldn't run it instead of bees. Like the idea is if you run them like okay, so it doesn't do it. All right. It's just the flavor text. Okay, it's good because if it actually did, that'd be even better. Like I'd be like, wow, it summons 5 bees. That's actually pretty good. But like if you run just bees, right? It's gonna summon 4 bees and discount Night of the Wild by 4, and now your Night of the Wild costs 3. So like you don't want to have to draw both your bees, right? Like you want to, you know, have options. So I could see how this could be good with Night of the Wild. And isn't there another one too? Isn't there what's the cat called? It's like Matriarch something. Yeah, I could actually show you guys these cards. So 1 less for each beast you've summoned this game. Nice. So there's like there's like 2 payoffs for this. This actually I'm gonna give that a 2. I think it's at least almost there. Curious Cumulus, 4 mana 3/5 elemental. At the end of your turn, give your hero Divine Shield. This is like a slightly better anti-Kingsbane tech than Sticky Finger, you know? I'm gonna give it a 1, but I don't know that we're not gonna see it. Dream Rager, 3 mana, 5/1, elusive. Obviously, this is a 3-star card. We don't need to talk about it. Daydreaming Pixie, 2 mana, 0/4. At the end of your turn, get a random nature spell. I mean, like it's really bad, right? Just because of the nature of the wild pool of cards. Like I could see maybe this is good in standard because they have smaller nature spells, but pool is too wide in wild. You'll get a bunch of garbage a lot of the time. 1 star. Aw, Barkley, what's wrong? You could come over here with me. You don't have to sequester yourself. Renee's in the other room, so he's sad. Critter Caretaker. So it's on 1 mana 2/2. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to both heroes. Like, slower decks have stopped running Armor Vendor and Mistress of Mixtures, which I think are both better than this. Like, the advantage that this has over the other ones is this one heals you multiple times, right? So, like, if this sticks, you get more healing out of it. And especially comparing it to Mistress of Mixtures, you don't need to trade it to get the healing. You know, you get immediate healing as opposed to Mistress, where if you can't trade it off or like, you know, sacrifice it in the same turn, you actually don't get anything. So I don't know. I'll give it a 2-star just because I could see it popping up somewhere, especially like maybe if healing matters to something, it could be good, but I don't know. It's close to 1 star, I think. Then we have Dreambound Raptor. 1 mana, 2/1. After you play a minion, give it a random bonus effect. And it's a beast. Isn't this just really solid? I think that's a really solid card, actually. Especially if we're looking back on... I mean, like, I don't think that Beast Druid is a sleeper deck that's suddenly going to become extremely playable because of this expansion. It's just top of mind because we were just talking about it. But, like, in a deck where you get a bunch of things down to 0 mana and you play them in a turn, you know, like Dreambound Raptor is pretty good. We've played cards like that before where, you know, like the 2/5, the Hawkstrider thing, you know, like it gives you other things. Death Rattle, make a 1/1. You know, like the things that only have value if you play other things, have seen played before. And this is a really cheap one. This is like super cheap. Random bonus effect, I think, is not as good as like raw stats. So like, but if your deck is planning to play a bunch of like really cheap things all at once, I could definitely see this being pretty decent. I'll give it a solid 2. Briar Spawn Drake, 10 mana, 12/7. At the end of your turn, attack a random enemy minion. Excess damage hits the enemy hero. With the imbue, with the imbue paladin in standard, I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I think the only 10 costs in standard post rotation are going to be this thing and the other dragon that got nerfed to be 10. It used to be a 9 mana 9/9 that dealt 9 at the end of turn to a random enemy minion. Now it's a 10 instead of all those numbers. But they nerfed it so that there would be something else at 10. And you either roll this one or you're like, which is really broken because you get immediate extreme damage off the imbue, or you get the other one, which, you know, isn't as broken as this, but, you know, trades without taking damage at the end of your turn. Runaway Blackwing, thank you. So they nerfed that one, so it would also be 10 cost for the imbue hero power, I assume. But like, is this good to just hard run in your deck? I don't think so. I'll give it a 1. Tormented Dreadwing, 5 mana 5/5 dragon, draw 2 dragons on a death rattle, reduce their cost by 1. The fact that it's a death rattle is pretty weak, right? If this was a battle cry, I think it would be really solid. It'd be like the druid spell, but on a stick. That's pretty good. But the fact that this is a death rattle means it's duty, right? I want to almost give it a 2, but I think it's a 1. I'll give it a 1. Illusionary Greenwing, 4 mana 4/5 taunt, death rattle, shuffle 2 4/5 dragons with taunt into your deck. They're summoned when drawn. If this thing was Battlecry instead of Death Rattle, I would give it a 2 for sure. But the fact that it's a Death Rattle means it's too slow. Like, I wish Ticketmaster was a Battlecry, right? Like, that's always been my problem with that deck. Is like, you know, you have to actually trade the Ticketmaster. You don't get the immediate effect. But like, can you imagine Shuffle Rogue with Seeker and the 5 Castaway? Is that what it's called? But you know, like getting to run a card like this, right? It's a new, probably better Felderai Strider. So, like it's a 1, right? But like, if only we got close. Barkley, what you whining about? Come here. Oh, I think he wants me to open up his den. I'll be 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Fey Trickster, 3 mana, 2/4 dragon, death rattle, draw a spell that costs 5 or more. Now, if this was a battle cry, again, I guess I'm going to be saying that for every death rattle, but if this was a battle cry, I'd give it a 2 for sure. But on a death rattle, I think it's a little weak sauce. The fact that it's a dragon means it's tutorable, so I mean, like, if you want to be really stupid about it, you know, we already have the 1 cost thing that draws a holy spell, but Knight of Anointment, but and like that itself is tutorable with Christology. So like we have the chain to Holy Wrath already, but you know, we could go red scale into Fey Trickster into Holy Wrath too. Anyways, so the fact that this has the dragon tag makes it a little interesting. I guess I'll give it a really soft 2. I don't have that much faith in it, but you know, this could be like you run it in Dragon Druid and it gets you your Scale of Onyxia, so your bright what's the 9 cost one called, or whatever it's called, like the really expensive one, Fey, right? Something like that. So your Fey costs cheap more reliably. I don't know. Just scenarios like that where the dragon tag will matter and tutoring an important 5 cost will matter. Then we have Animated Moonwell, 3 for 1/4 elemental. After you cast a spell, gain attack equal to its cost. Huh. No, it's a 1, right? But like it made me think about it. Petal Peddler, 2 mana, 1/4 dragon. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly dragon 1/1. These cheap dragons are like 3 years too late. I don't know. Like we could have made something out of Galakron Warrior, I think, but you know, cheap dragons for our Alex draws this champion. You know, we just need them all to be 1 cost in pirate style. You know, it's not happening. Unlucky. 1 star. No, it's awful. No. So Twisted Treant, 2 mana, 2/2 death rattle. Give a random minion in each player's hand -2 attack. Is there gonna be some like death rattle Treant druid deck or something? So like, this is a Treant that you can just run. Does death rattle matter at all in druid? Because there's another neutral one that has a death rattle. Any Undertaker Treants? You twist me right round, baby, right round, like a Treant, baby, right round, round. Oh, well, very good. 1 star. But Tranquil Treant, 2 mana, 2/2 death rattle. Both players gain an empty mana crystal. I think this is actually interesting. Like, this is wild growth for everyone. But like, you give it to your opponent too, but you can put this in a deck that can use the mana better, faster than your opponent. So like, this is a body, and it gets you closer to like. So imagine it in like in Druid, I guess. But imagine it in Druid, and you need to get to Spreading Plague for against aggro. It's a wild growth that has a body, right? You play it on 2, you get to trade into something, and it puts you that much closer to your spell that wins you the game. So I think like that's not a perfect example because Druid already has so much better ramp. So like, don't focus too much on that specific example. But like, if you're in a class with a slower game plan and you just need to get to your power board clear or whatever whatever turn your anti-aggro board flip comes down, this puts you 1 closer to that. So I think it's slightly I think it's like a soft 2. Like, I could see this popping up places. It's interesting. Gnawing Greenfin, 1 mana, 1/1 Murloc, Battlecry, get a random Murloc. This would have gone hard in the Barrens, that's for sure. Is there a Murloc that gets discounted for every Murloc you've played this game? There isn't, right? This is like a nutty shaman quest. A nutty shaman quest card, I guess. I'll give it 1 just because I don't think random Murloc is going to be good, but it's interesting. If Murlocs ends up being a deck otherwise, I could easily see this making the cut, right? Like, because it's a decent 1-drop on its own, and it gives you another thing that has synergy with your deck. Envoy of the Glade, 4 mana 3/6, Battlecry, transform all neutral cards in your deck into random druid ones. That's a 1-star. Hopeful Dryad, 3 mana 3/3, Battlecry, get a random dream card. I kind of want to build the dream deck. I get build it with like every Ysera that does dream stuff, and Hopeful Dryad, and 3 mana Naralax, and Sheldrasil, and just like play dream cards all game. That sounds fun. Like, as long as you build it in Druid, I think it can't be that bad, right? Because you just ramp into all that stuff and dream your opponent into oblivion. The core set, like introduced in the core set, Ysera goes infinite now because they unnerfed Dream. So, you know, you could do a bunch of man, I'm excited to do that. That sounds really fun. I am gonna give this a soft 2 because, like, you know, outside of the shenanigans that I want to pull for content, Renathal Reno builds, especially, and like just Renathal piles generally, do use cards like this. You know, like we're using Mixologist, and like Mixologist is probably better than this, right? Because you have some agency over what cards you get. But most of the cards in this that Hopeful Dryad can give you are really good. So I could definitely see this popping up in 40 card piles. Also, it's 1 mana. What's 1 mana? All right, Blood Thistle Illusionist. 3 mana 2/4, Battlecry, summon a copy of this. One secretly dies when it takes damage. Oh, the potion? Ysera Awakens is better than any potion you can get off of that thing. It doesn't matter that, like, the card quality per mana cast is higher in this thing. It's just you have agency over what your card does on the other one. You just get a random really good card from this. So, like, I do think Mixologist is better, but it's not because the potion costs 1. It's because the card quality is, like, you have agency over the impact of your card, right? So if you need a clear, you're not necessarily going to get it off of Dryad. You might get, like, a body, you know? Whereas if you need a body with Mixologist, you have likelihood of being able to get that. Or if you need a clear, you have likelihood of being able to get that. It's the agency, not the cost of the mana. Anyways, Blood Thistle Illusionist. This card is annoying to me in the Theorycraft stream and the pre-release brawl, but I don't imagine it's going to be very good on Open Ladder in either format, really. Does the fact that it's a demon do anything? Not sure. 1 star. Nightmare Lord Xavius. Speaking of cards that are going to show up in every Renathal pile. Nightmare Lord Xavius, 4 mana 4/4, Battlecry, discover a minion from your deck, give it a dark gift. I mean, this is going to be a low 3 star, but I'm going to give it a 3 star. You know, this is going to pop up in every, like, Renathal, Highlander pile. You know, maybe not in decks like Druid that aren't trying to win by being a pile. You know, like this is the ones that just try to win by being a value mass. Like, this will be really good in those. So I think that this is definitely going to be played in Wild, especially because it lets you pick a minion from your deck, right? Like, discovering from 3 options is really helpful. So yeah, I think this is a 3 star. It's not like super busted, but yeah, it's gonna get played in lots of things. Xavius will also be replacing Illidan as the Demon Hunter hero in an upcoming patch. Oh, well, very good. Bark Shield Sentinel, 2 mana 2/2 taunt. After you use your hero power, gain +2 health. You know, if this had been out when March of the Lich King, I think this would have seen play in even Death Knight. You know, we were playing some really awkward infused cards, but, you know, like 2 years ago, yeah, I think this would have seen play 2 years ago. I don't think it's good now. I think it's a 1. Even DK is better using the Nathria infused taunt, right? I mean, sure, yeah, but like, it's not better than other cards in that deck. It's not like you want to have only one card that does something similar in a deck. You know, oftentimes you want to have as many of those types of cards as you can. Like, this is better than some cards that on release even DK was using. So, yeah. But still, you know, it's not 2 years ago, it's today, so I'll give it 1 stars. Slumbering Sprite, 1 mana 3/3, starts dormant after you use your hero power. This awakens. I don't know if this is like too old or not. Like, imagine how hard this would have gone when Baku decks were everywhere. Like, you play this on 1, you hero power on 2, and now you have a 3/3. I don't know, it's pretty good. But, you know, again, for that time. I just don't think that Wild Hearthstone is at a pace that it can use this effectively. So it's a little sad. Like, some of these cards are really interesting for a couple years ago. And I mean, Baku was more than a couple years ago at this point, right? Like, when was the last good, like, really good Baku deck? It was like Odd Hunter from Alterac Valley, I think, is the last time an odd deck saw any real play. So it's been a while. 1 star, obviously. Flutterwing Guardian. So this is going to be exactly as good as Imbue decks are, which I think will be bad. So Priest isn't going to be good. Shaman will probably not be good. Paladin will probably not be good. Hunter might be good. So maybe this sees playing Hunter. Druid, I think, has a decent shot of being something. Like, I don't know if it'll be like a super meta deck, or if it'll be the type of deck where, like, you know, people like me can play it and have fun with it. But that one's not going to run any of the Imbue cards because it's just going to play a bunch of nature spells, right? Like, the fact that it doesn't have to run these cards is why it would be good. So, like, this either is good enough for the Hunter version or it sees no play, in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a 1. All right. Then we have Resplendent Dreamweaver. 4 mana 5/4. If you've imbued your hero power twice, deal 5 damage to a minion. This is so good in Imbue decks and Standard. Like, I've been playing with them a lot. I actually really like them for Standard. They're fun. But like, I think the Druid Imbue has its shot in Wild and the other ones don't. Are you going to run this in the, like, nature spam Imbue deck in Druid in Wild? Probably not, but maybe. 4 mana 5/4, deal 5 damage to a minion is alright. And, like, it's going to be active by the time you play it. So, like, the fact that that dragon saw play in Dragon Druid, the exact same card, but if you're holding a dragon, the fact that that saw play in Wild gives me some hope for it, but I'm still giving it a 1. Then we have Sheldrasil. This might be my favorite card of the set. I'd have to think about it. It might be the Druid Imbue card. I don't know. But 7 mana nature spell. Get all 5 dream cards. If you've played a higher cost card while holding this, corrupt them. I like that this at least pays an homage to the keyword, right? Like, I hate that we don't use keywords, you know, when they're relevant, you know, because it's digital, right? I understand for paper. But in digital, if you don't know what a keyword does, all you have to do is mouse over the card and it tells you. So, like, I hate that they introduce a keyword and then the keyword doesn't stay. Like, you know, I don't know. Anyways, like, keywords are just marketing. They're not actually to make gameplay simpler, like new keywords. Anyways, so Sheldrasil. I think it's cool that this uses the word corrupt in its text, and it's doing the corrupt thing, right? You play something that costs higher and it corrupts all your dream cards, and all the dream cards are really good. So let's see, those are the old ones. I was listing, like, everything that can generate it. Why is it this? Oh, because it, like, the Ysera Awakens stuff references Ysera, and there's an Ysera that summons dream portals. Okay, fine. Hilarious. But yeah, let's find those new ones. So somewhere we'll find some new ones. Where are they? Oh, here we go. I guess. Why is this here twice? Because the classic set and the legacy set? Huh? Anyways. Corrupted Laughing Sister. So this thing is gigantic. It's a 2 for 6/10 elusive, and your hero is elusive. That's crazy. Then Corrupted Awakening, deal 5 damage to all enemies, especially Ysera. I think this just outright destroys Ysera. I don't think it deals 10 to it. Then 4 mana, 14/12. That's just a giant step out. Like, the Corrupted Drake actually managed to be worse than Corrupted Laughing Sister. That's kind of funny. I mean, like, you know, it's a huge threat for 4, right? Then Corrupted Dream, shuffle a minion into its owner's deck. Huh. This is like better if you use it on your opponent's stuff, but worse if you use it on your own. Interesting. That's the other one that's not like a strict improvement. And then give a minion +5/+5 and immune this turn. Oh, deal 5 damage to all enemies. I was like, wait, is this one actually better? But yes, it doesn't hit your own stuff. Give a minion +5/+5 and immune this turn. And it doesn't destroy it afterwards. They didn't do a Ragnaros with this. You know, like they didn't do remember when they did the Light Lord and it was a corrupt elemental, double negative? This is still a nightmare. I feel like this should have been, I don't know what you would have done. I'd have to think about it. But anyways, I really like this card. I think it's cool. Is it any good? No, it's probably a 1. But I'm going to play with it. Is this valid Velen tech? I think you're better off with like Ironbeak Owl. And like Ironbeak Owl isn't the best like silence card you could use, but I think it's better than this as a Velen tech. All right, Malorn the Waywatcher, 8 mana, 8/6 beast. Discover a legendary wild god. If you've imbued your hero power 4 times, set its cost to 1. I feel like this card is borderline slow. Like, it's definitely worth playing in standard, I think. Having played it, I think it's really strong. But it's like borderline borderline slow. Like, you know, you have to wait a while before you can play this thing. And you have to have imbued enough times, right? So it's like a little awkward in standard. It's gonna be good, right? Like, it's probably a 3-star card for standard, but I'm thinking Druid is the one imbue potential for wild. It's gonna do that by playing a ton of nature spells. Well, you can have 2 of those nature spells be Invigorate and Wild Growth, so it's not like you can't ramp into this thing. Maybe it is interesting. I'll give it a 2. I was about to give it a 1, but like, that's interesting. I'll use the rogue stuff to discount it and corrupt it. That's interesting. Like for Sheldress though. Interesting. Naralax, Herald of Flights. So this gives Aviana to all other classes for purposes of Alex combo. So the problem is you can't use it with ETC like you could with Druid, because Naralax doesn't actually discount ETC. So what you could do in a non-Druid class is, if you have, do you have to play the brand first? How much mana do you need? If you're going to play the brand for the Ysera, you need to get to 11 already, which seems meh. You need to be at 9, right? So if you're at 9, you play this, play Ysera. You have 4 mana left. No, you need to be at 10. Okay, so if you're at 10, you play this, you play Ysera, that's 8 of your mana. So now you have 5 left because you had 2 left over and Ysera gave you 3. Then you can pay Bran with the 3, and then Alex to set your opponent to 15, and other Alex to hit them in the face with 8 twice. So like, it's pretty scuffed, right? Because if you're using Druid, you can play Aviana on 9, which, you know, 9 is probably going to be like turn 6 or something. And then, not turn 9, turn 10. play any of either Ysera or ANR, and you can actually get to like 11 and do Aviana, Bran, Ysera for 6 extra mana. But anyways, as you go Aviana, open up your mana with either Ysera or ANR. Then you go Bran, ETC, Alex, and you win. So it's it's a 3-card combo that needs a 4th piece, but the 4th piece is flexible. Whereas this is inflexible 5 pieces. So it does have 7 health for Starliner. Well, that's something. That's a Psych Melon combo, maybe. Like, Druid does this better already. Like, I don't think this is a Druid card. I think this opens up Dragon possibilities for other classes. So, like, I don't know. Like, it could be something. I'm looking forward to trying this in, like, Warlock or Warrior, but having sat with it for a while, because this is one of the first cards they showed us, I don't think this is actually going to manifest anytime soon. I'll give it a 1, but it's like, it's a high 1. It just needs like the right piece to come out, and then it just is better. Does it make Scabs Alex easier? I don't know. It is kind of a Naga Sea Witch effect where any class could just dump it and dump 3 expensive dragons. That's true. Maybe I am pigeonholing it too much on the combo, thinking about it as just a stat dump. Not sure. Bad for now, probably. So I'll give that a 1, but like it's borderline 2. Treacherous Tormentor, 4 mana 5/4 demon. Discover a legendary minion with a dark gift. I mean, this is almost Renathal pile quality, but I don't think it's quite there. I think I'll give it a 1. Just wanted to stop by and say hi. I've been really enjoying the YouTube content. You inspired me to push for Legend for the first time. Hit 328 NA with Mid-Range Hunter. Nice, congratulations. What about Reno Warrior with Deep Miner Brand that doubles Ysera's mana game? That would make it easier. Well, yeah, right? Because then you just need to do it on 8, because you already have the Brand effect in play. All right, yeah, maybe. Oh, wait, and then you could ETC it, couldn't you? So if you had Bran up, you play this on 8. Ysera gives you 6 mana because Bran's in play. And then ETC giving you both Alex, and then you win. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. This is a better imbue hero power card. It costs 2, so like there's a chance maybe you would play it in even the Druid one. But like I feel like you really just go full on nature spells. I don't think you need to run a River Croc. Like this imbues all in one card, but like you could just run nature spells and be fine in the Druid deck. So like I almost want to give it a 2 just because it's borderline good enough for that deck, but I don't think this is going to make any of the other imbue classes viable for Wild, and I think it's only borderline consideration in Druid. So I'll give it a 1 still, but it's it's possibly a 2. Creature of Madness, 2 mana 1/2 Battlecry. Discover a 3-cost minion with a dark gift. I'm gonna give this a 2, like a really low 2. Like real soft 2, because just for value pile reasons. This is a 2 that gives you a 3, and the 3 is going to be extra good because of the dark gift. But like I don't know, it's gonna be either good enough for value piles or not, and I'm like only slightly there. Like I'm like maybe. So it's a soft 2, but it's a 2. Wisp, and I keep forgetting about the stupid mage imbue. There are 6 total imbues? Huh. Good. Okay. My bad, everyone. Wow, I wish I'd remembered that one. Okay, so it really is just dragon. Sorry, it's paladin, priest, hunter, druid, mage. Is that all of them? Thoughts? There's 5? No one's confirming that for me? Shaman. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I was like, I thought I listed 5 before. All right. But then, okay, so there's 6 total. All right, cool. I was like, I thought I listed 5 before. All right. So the mage one is actually interesting. So maybe I have to give this a 2 after all. I think I'm still gonna leave the 4 at a 1. Like, it's kind of expensive for wild, and like, I don't know, but it might be that you just need to run every imbue card. Like, so I'll give the other one a 2 also. The not the deal 5 one, but the 4 for 4/4 divine shield taunt. I forgot about mage. Mage is kind of interesting. We'll talk about it more when we get to the mage stuff, but like, there's a lot of hero power relevancy cards in mage that are really good. Like, if you imbue your hero power a bunch, you can play Reckless Experimenter and shoot, like a bunch of times in a row. It could be interesting. I, but like that type of deck, I don't know if it's actually good or if it's like good enough for me to like have goofy content with it. So soft 2s, but 2s. I'll put the neutral imbue cards at a soft 2. Ysera is as good as it is. We know that it's a card, and yeah, this card's a 2. Pops up here and there. I don't know. It's a really strong card. Are we out of neutrals? Very good. All right, so we can actually talk about the more interesting cards now. All right, and with that, I'm gonna go to the restroom, but I'll be right back. Hey, who's a good dog? Are you good doggy? You good dog? Yeah. Good dog. Okay. I return after all these days. All right, so we're on to Death Knight. Nithindra. 7 mana, 7/7, taunt, death rattle, split into 1/1 beetles. At the start of your turn, reform with anything remaining. It is undead and it's a dragon. Is there any card in the game that should be 3 types? You know how they added 2, and so now things like Patches the Pirate that should be a Neiman and should be a pirate. Get them both. Is there anything that should have a 3rd type? I'm gonna start thinking about that as I look at things. Will this be on YouTube? I would never put anything on YouTube, especially not this. But yes, it will be. Anyways, so how good is this? It's 2 Unholy, and I think wild potential is 2 Blood. I do think that, like, Unholy Blood has some potential post mini or post set launch, but I think it'll be 2 Blood, so you can run things like Corpse Explosion and Soul Stealer, all that stuff. But who knows? I don't know that this would be a very good inclusion in that anyway. I feel like Wild has a lot of really good answers for this, and it's 7 mana for no immediate impact. So I'm not really seeing it. It's kind of cool how many corpses it gives you, potentially. It's kind of cool that it keeps on going. But, like, especially because it's double Unholy, I don't think it's even going to see play in Standard. Like, it's going to be a tough sell for this thing. But it is a cool card, even if it's a 1-star. Corpse Flower, again, 2 Unholy, 3 for 0/5 Undead. After your opponent summons a minion, spend 2 corpses to deal 3 damage to it. This would be really good if you could play it on 3 and have it trigger at least twice against aggro, right? But how are you going to have that many corpses on 3, right? Is that you have to have a bunch of corpses for this to be good. So I'm not seeing it. Like, okay, so Zerg, right? You could play the Zerg stuff, and then sometimes you'd have a bunch of corpses, I guess. But it is 2 Unholy, and also I forgot to mention this for Nithendra. It's also odd. I like the whole leech package is even, which is like part of what gives me some hope for that build. So like odd on top of being like 2 Unholy and also being mid. I don't know. I'll give this a 1-2. Morbid Swarm. Now this is an interesting card. So it summons 2/1/1 ants, which is good for corpses. Or you can use it to spend 2 corpses to deal 4 damage to a minion. So that's pretty flexible. If we're gonna go Renathal Pile instead of even for Unholy Blood, this is a shoe-in. This is gonna be a really good card in that deck. So I'm gonna give this a 2. Like I think it's gonna be solid in any DK deck that's a Renathal Pile that manifests in the next year or 2, I think. Major upside is curving to your War Axe. Yeah, but is there another one? I know there isn't in this set, but like, is there anything in like Wild? I guess I could look. Where's thought I had Hearthstone open a while ago. Where's that at? Maybe I already got rid of it. All right, well, let's see if I can make use of this. So DK, can I sort by rune? Oh man, I guess I just need to look at the 1 costs. So if we're looking at this Fistful of Corpses, can you play that if you have no corpses? Just toss it out there. And is it literally just Fistful of Corpses? Oh my goodness. So yeah, so there's that other card, we'll get to it in a second, that like this activates for both effects. Which is all right. I don't know how good that'll be, but maybe if you can consistently trigger the attack side of it also on top of this, maybe that's a factor. But in a 40 card deck, which is how you would play this in Wild, how often are you going to start with Morbid Swarm and then go into the Death Knight War Axe immediately following? And especially like, I don't think there's that many Blood Unholy cards that you're going to run that have both types on it, as far as like being able to activate it even later as the game goes on. So I feel like the War Axe might actually be kind of bad, but you know, we'll see. Vex Illuminated, thank you so much for gifting a tub to Wexo. Then we have Rise of a Rite of Atrocity. But okay, so I think this is good. Like, this is a good card regardless of synergy with the War Axe, as far as like, you know, you can play it for as removal later, but you can also just play it for board presence and corpses early. 2-star. Rite of Atrocity. 1 mana, discover an undead, spend 2 corpses to give it a dark gift. Only a Renathal pile would play this. Is this the best card to play in your Renathal pile? Probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a 1. Sanguine Investigation. I'm going to give the whole Leech package a 2. It's both Renathal pileable, but also it's even. So like the both possibilities for Death Knight are checked off for the Leech package, and I think they're interesting. It's probably a soft 2, right? Like I don't know if this is actually going to take Death Knight from completely obscure to something, but it's kind of interesting. So for 4, you get to draw 2 cards and you summon 2 0/2 leeches. Not bad. You ran actual War Axe and Warrior, so wouldn't getting just an Unholy Rune be good enough? I mean, I ran War Axe and Warrior because I like to do it. But like, you don't see that from a lot of other people. It's not a widely played card anymore. And it's War Axe is always a War Axe, whether you played something on 1 or not. And the Death Knight one is only a War Axe if you work for it. So that's a pretty big difference. Does it go through Ice Block? Sure, here. It doesn't deal damage. So yeah, that's a good point, is like you could beat the mages with this. Then we have Monstrous Mosquito. I'm going to give this a 2 because if we ever get any kind of aggro DK, I think this is all right, right? Like any non, even DK, I think it would play this. It's a 1/1/2 beast. I don't really see a deck for it right now, so I guess I shouldn't give it a 2. I should give it a 1, but I think it could be a 2 in the future. At the end of your turn, give your other minions +1 attack. So, I underrated this card going into the Theorycraft, and now every time I see it, it feels like I'm going to die. So, I don't know. This card is pretty solid. Drakari? Oh, you mean for the leeches? Maybe. Maybe. Especially if you're running both of these, maybe. You never know. Drakari with this is kind of cute. I don't know what else you'd run it with. But yeah, this is like a 1, honestly. I don't know that the deck that utilizes this well is going to manifest in Death Knight, but I think it's a pretty solid card. Hideous Cusk, this is the best of the leech cards because it makes them deal more damage. So the leeches themselves are kind of but as soon as you play this, they're chunking for 3. So your leeches steal 2 more health from their victims, Battlecry, summon 2 leeches. It's an undead and a beast. So as a beast, you can search for it with Curator. So you can play Curator on 5, and then you'll have this. But yeah, it's pretty solid. And are the leeches themselves undead? No, they're beasts. So you could... Isn't there summon undead stuff in DK, like resummon undead, or am I thinking of Warlock? I might be thinking of Warlock. But if you had something like that, could trigger your undead synergies. Imagine bringing back just this. That'd be sick. Infested Breath, 2 for deal 2 damage. Summon a 0/2 leech. It's almost a Frostbolt Dark Mom type card, just because the leech steals something. So I don't know, this is good. If you're running any of the leech stuff, you're running all the leech stuff, in my opinion. I mean, like, you could almost just run this on its own, I suppose. But, yeah, I think that's a 2. So here's the War Axe we were talking about. So Grotesque Runeblade, 2 for 2/2 weapon. But Battlecry, if your last play card was an Unholy Rune, gain 1 attack, and repeat for blood and +1 durability. So if your last play card was Unholy, it's a War Axe. If it was a Blood Rune, then it's a... Has anything ever been a 2 for 2/3 with no downside? No, right? I don't think that's happened. So, there was the Overload Shaman one, but I can't think of anything else. Anyways, so I think you want to reliably trigger the Unholy side of this, which is for the best, right? Like, there are more Unholy 1-drops, or say in even, there are more Unholy 2-drops that you want to play than blood drops. So, what if that last card was Blood Unholy? I like that it's not, because I don't like the dual runes. I think that takes away from player agency, but it would definitely make that card better. So yeah, if this was the other way around, I'd give it a 1. But the fact that you need the Unholy rune to turn this into a War Axe means that I think it has some potential, especially because it's even. I mean, the last card you play was... Oh, yes, you do get both. That's why this thing is so good with it. Morbid Swarm. Like, if you go Morbid Swarm into that, it will trigger both. So, that's why those cards are so good. But there isn't a second Morbid Swarm type card to run. So, like, it's pretty inconsistent that you get both effects. So, I'm going to give this the softest, too. I feel like it is kind of almost there. Well... Is there a Blood Unholy 2-drop? In Wild, maybe? Blood Unholy 2-drop. You could play this into the second copy of it. There's a Frost Unholy, but no, that doesn't count, right? The Frost doesn't do anything. Looking like, yeah, no. So, I don't know. This is, I almost want to give it a 1, because, like, I was thinking at least, you can trigger it by playing a 2 and then playing this in even DK, but I think that's going to be a stretch. So I'll give it a 1 for now. If we ever get, like, a way to reliably trigger both sides of it, like, not necessarily on curve, but, like, early and consistently, maybe. Ursoc, 9 mana, 6/14 beast, Battlecry, attack all other minions, Death Rattle, resurrect any that's killed. It is odd, so it's Renathal Pile only. It is 9 mana, so, like, the Renathal Pile has to, like, really, get there. Meh. I almost want to give it a 1 for Wild, but, like, it's really strong in Standard. I've been playing this in Standard decks, like both in the Theorycraft and in the pre-release Brawl, but I don't think it's a Wild quality card. It's really good off of Malorn. Malorn is really good off of. But yeah, I'll give this a 1. It's really strong if you play it. And if it was like 8 mana, I'd probably give it a 2, but meh. Is this even a solid pile card? Seems weak for that. It clears your whole enemy board. And, like, if you play this, your opponent's board is gone, right? I don't know. I think it's pretty solid. I would play it. And like, if it ends up trading, you get a board back. So I think it's good. But it's not good enough for how late it comes down, in my opinion, for a while. Airlock Breach and Headless Horseman being Blood Unholy means the axe is at least somewhat consistent higher on the curve. Well, I mean, like, I don't want to play a 2 mana 3/3 weapon on turn 7. So, like, I might sometimes. I don't want to include a card that requires those cards to be good, right? So you have one good card that activates it early on. And yeah, you have Headless Horseman and Airlock Breach. Airlock Breach is the only one of those that's relevant to Wild, I think. So, like, yeah, there's I guess a second card that activates it, but you don't want to include a card that needs you don't want to include a card like that needs a 6 mana card to activate it. And if that's the only other Blood Unholy that you would play, then you do need it to activate it, which is bad. So anyways, on to Demon Hunter. I think that Death Knight has some, like, marginal potential due to the Leech package. I think it got a couple good, interesting things, but it's probably going from a class that you only play because it's your pet class and you really want to make it work to a class that you only play because it's your pet class and you really want to make it work, but you suffer a little less while you do it. So, I don't know. I think that's probably the total move. I do like that it has a get around ice block thing, though. I think that's cool. Then we have Dreadsoul Corruptor. So, moving on to Demon Hunter. It is a 4-mana 4/4 Battlecry and Death Rattle. Summon a random dormant Dread Seed. Okay, the Dread Seeds are. This works like Wild Seeds. So you get 2-mana 4/4 Undead Beast, dormant for 2 turns, and when this awakens, give your hero +3 attack this turn. I think this is the best one. Crow Dreadseed, 1-mana 3/3, elusive, dormant for 1 turn, and 3-mana 5/5, taunt lifesteal, dormant for 3 turns. So this one is like obviously really good when it finally hits. Thank you. But I think it's pretty slow, right? So these cards are really good in standard, I think. I was really impressed with them in the Theory Craft. So expect to see those there. If there was a 4-mana 4/4 Battlecry and Death Rattle summon a Wild Seed, would we play that? Because we have 5-mana summon all 3 Wild Seeds, and that one's kind of mid. So, and like that has Rhino synergy, whereas like there isn't a Rhino for this. There's nothing to give these charge in Demon Hunter. I'm gonna give this a 1. I don't really see it, but you know, it's kind of a soft 1, I guess. It could be a 2, almost. Then we have Grim Harvest. 2-mana, draw a card, summon a random dormant wild Dread Seed. If you play 2-mana and you get the stupid Crow, you feel pretty bad, right? But you do draw a card. Poacher gave you a 2/2, though. I'm gonna give that a 1. It's Demon Hunter, right? Like, what kind of Demon Hunter would play this? I gotta give it a 1. Wyvern Slumber, 3-mana, choose 1, summon 2 dormant Dread Seeds, or deal 2 damage to all minions. I think this is a good card. If Demon Hunter had a Renathal pile that was actually worth playing, I think this would be good in it, right? But it doesn't. This is so flexible. You can either get tempo or it can be a board clear. I think it's really good. It's just in the wrong class. Like it would have to be a different class would play this. It doesn't have 40 one-off pile cards that are actually effective. Kind of a bummer that the cards summoning them are just straight up worse than the Hunter versions because the seeds themselves aren't bad. I think the seeds are better than the Hunter seeds. There's an argument that the Rush one is better than this, but it's a 1-mana 3/3. You get 2 extra health and you get like a worse keyword, but a good keyword. That's better than the bear for sure. You know what? The stag might be better than this. Hard to say. These are good though. Like I do like the Wild Seeds, but kind of I guess to your point, they're not as good of cards summoning wise. This one's really solid for standard. Like I don't know. I feel like it's less that the cards themselves aren't good quality and more that they're in the wrong class for this type of thing to see any play. Then we have Alashi. 5-mana 5/5 Demon Beast. Transform minions in your hand into random demons. They keep their original stats and cost. Huh. At first I was like, no way, this is a 2015 card. Why why is this so bad? But they keep their original stats and costs, so you could do something stupid like play this, play Polkelt, play every single 0-cost minion, and then play this and dump a bunch of 0-cost demons. But like the average demon is hot garbage. It like every time you hit Enhanced Dreadlord off of that, it would be spicy, right? I mean, this card is a 1 either way, but like a 0-cost 1/1 with a random demon battle cry is probably going to on average be better than just a straight up wisp. There are a couple of real stinkers in there that like discard your cards or make you lose a mana crystal, but you know, I think getting text is going to be better. But like I don't know. If I ever wanted to make like the world's worst Demon Hunter video that nobody would watch or nobody would watch very long, I could do that. A pretty solid one. Pretty. Is this the worst card I've seen so far? I don't know. It's pretty bad. Defiled Spear. 4 mana 2/3. After your hero attacks an enemy, deal your hero's attack damage to another random enemy. How good is this? If you... It says another random enemy, right? So if you go face, the second trigger will never hit face, right? Well, I don't know. Isn't this good? Maybe Demon Hunter in Wild doesn't have a use for this, but I feel like this will pop up in Standard. It's 4 mana. I don't know. I'm too I'm too what was the other one called? The one cost one? Did something really similar. It was like if you could attack again if you honorably killed something. Like I remember that one being too strong, but like this is a really different card from that. Like it costs 4 times the mana, so I get in Wild this is a 1 for sure, but I was just wondering like how interesting that was otherwise. Yeah, go back. So then we have 7 mana 7/5 demon, resurrect a different friendly death rattle minion that costs 5 or more, summon a copy of it. So this is really good with like starships. Really good with that. I think Starship Demon Hunter in Wild probably has some potential. What's our Wild Death Rattle synergy? I know we have some. Our Wild Death Rattle synergy. Like activate a Death Rattle or something like that, or resummon a Death Rattle. The Quillboars. Okay, so they don't really have any. That 7 mana guy. Oh yeah, you can summon the 5 or less cost Death Rattle. So you could use what you call it, Blackthorn, right? And resummon summon the 4 cost starships out of your deck. It's not bad. And I think there's another, like, is it this one? Yeah. So this was also a 5 or less cost Death Rattle. So Death Rattle, resurrect a friendly Death Rattle minion that costs 4 or less, and summon a copy of it. So like if you use Blackthorn to summon one of these and summon the Starship piece, the Starship piece protects this, goes down, and then this goes down and summons 2 more Starship pieces. So that's kind of cute. It's got to be a 1, right? So this certainly is a 1. This is probably a 1. I don't know. I'm gonna build that deck. I'm gonna do that video, but I don't know that it's gonna be. It feels absurd in Standard, by the way. I played against this a couple times in the Theorycraft stream, and when they hit all of their Death Rattle synergies in a row, I was like, so I don't know. I'll give these 2 a 1, but they're interesting. Does Demon Hunter in either Standard or Wild have like draw a demon type cards? I forget. Probably not, right? I'm sure that would get used in Questline Demon Hunter. Umpire's Grasp. Oh yeah. But yeah, they're interesting. Jump Scare. 2 mana, discover a demon that costs 5 or more with a dark gift. Shuffle the other 2 into your deck. Oh my goodness. Gross. That is a 1. Omen. 10 mana 6/12 Demon Beast. Rush, Wind Fury, Death Rattle. Deal 1 damage to all enemies. Improves after this attacks. So far, this has existed to be a disappointing best option for the current situation imbue card to me. Like, not Malorn. Like, I get Malorn, and I need something with immediate impact, and this is my best option. I'm like, all right, well, I would have preferred Ursoc, but I guess I'll take this. You're never gonna play this, right? How do you get this down? Rush, Wind Fury. Maybe it's okay. Well, like, it's not saying play in Wild. This is a 1. Hitting this with Carrier is not as good as other options, right? Yeah. Definitely not. I mean, like, maybe it's a good second option. Huh. Because Carria, the problem was, like, you would only run it with Xylag before. And this is alright. But not, I mean, like, only having 6 health is probably pretty bad. So, I don't know. Probably not great. Nightmare Dragonkin. I'm so sorry. Nightmare Dragonkin. 3 mana 4/2 dragon. Reduce the cost of the rightmost card in your hand by 2. This is probably a 1, but isn't it kind of interesting, maybe? What expensive things do you want to discount with this? Would be insane if I had Rush. It sure would be. I don't know. Maybe, so you can run the 2-cost thing that summons a 3-cost Death Rattle from your hand, and maybe, like, if you're running that style of Death Rattle deck, you could play this, but I feel like that's a pretty outdated playstyle for Demon Hunter. And then we're on to Druid. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Alright, so Demon Hunter, I think, as usual, didn't get anything too exciting for Wild. I actually think that Death Knight, for once, has more exciting implications in Wild than the Demon Hunter cards do. Did I give anything a 2? It's like, we had the interesting Death Rattle cards that I gave, like, a reserved one. Like, it's almost there, but then, like, nah. Alright, so on to Druid. We have Forest Lord Cenarius. This is a 10 mana 5/8. Choose thrice, give your other minions +1/+3, or summon a 5/5 Ancient with Taunt. When I first read this, I thought this was going to be the hottest garbage. And then I played it in the Theorycraft stream, maybe just off of stuff. It feels really strong, like, when you get it down. And maybe it would be okay in Standard if Standard still had ramp in Druid, but they don't. Like, all the ramp got cut. It's like just New Heights and Ysera, right? So once you get to 10, this is huge. You get 3 5/5 taunts along with this 5/8. I don't think you're ever gonna choose give your other minions +1/+3. I mean, like, unless it's technically lethal, right? Like, it's a nice option to have to edge into lethal, but as far as, you know, on its own merits, I don't think you're gonna choose the first option much ever. But the fact that you get 3 5/5 taunts out of this, that's a lot of value in one card. So if Druid gets ramp again and can reliably get to 10 mana in Standard, I could see this thing play. But yeah. As far as Wild goes, we have much better things to do at 10, so it's a 1, but, like, it's a cool card. I could see playing it. It's good enough that if I wanted to do a stupid Druid video where I play with just my pet win cons, I could play this. Oh, Grove Shaper. So this is the big spooky card of the set. So 5 mana 3/6. After you cast a nature spell, summon a 2/2 treant with Death Rattle, get a copy of that spell. And I'm gonna give this a 3, but not for the reason you're thinking. So as far as what you can do with this and what people are worried about is you play Floop's Glorious Goop, which makes a treant that will give you Death Rattle, get a Floop's Glorious Goop. You play Naturalized, which will make a treant that gives that gives Death Rattle and Naturalize. And any other removal spell that's nature, which will, and it doesn't matter if it's nature, right? You just, yeah, it needs to be nature. How are you looping that? Okay. Wait. Okay, I was dumb for a second. So, let's say the other one is living mana. Is that what it's called? Well, not living mana. What's the one for deal 2 damage or summon 2/1/1s? Living Roots. Thank you. So let's say that your second one is Living Roots. It can be 2 naturalizes, but it doesn't have to be. So it's easier if it's 2 naturalizes, but it doesn't have to be. It has to be 1 naturalize and another nature-based removal spell. So you play the Gloop first. It's something in the tree and doesn't really matter, other than it gives you a target for your first removal spell. You play the Gloop, so now every time something dies, you get a mana back. You play your 1 mana naturalize, targeting that treant. You get a new treant that makes a naturalize, and you get a mana back. Your opponent draws 2 cards. Then you play your Living Roots, targeting the naturalize. You get the naturalize back, and now you get a treant that gives Death Rattle Living Roots. You use your new naturalize to target that treant. Your opponent draws 2 cards. You get a Living Roots back. You also get a 2/2 naturalize Death Rattle treant. So you just keep looping those 2 over and over and over again. You can do that infinitely. You Living Roots the naturalize Living Roots until forever. And so like that loop, theoretically, you could mill your opponent's entire deck. Theoretically, you could. But A, that's a multi-piece combo, and B, are you really going to do that enough times to mill your opponent out in 1 turn without cheating? I think the answer is no. I think the answer is going to be no, you're not going to actually win with this. However, as a piece of mill druid generally, you can easily like mill your opponent 10 cards with this, right? Like they're not gonna lose in 1 turn just because of this, other than like maybe pragmatically they've had too much value burnt. I don't know, they've gotten too close to the end of their deck, and your due process will take the rest of the way. But like you can loop it to have a big burn swing turn, but also you can just use this to get back more due process and solar eclipse and naturalize generally. It doesn't have to be a big combo turn. It's just another good way to make a bunch of extra mill cards. So I do think this is strong enough to be a shoe-in for mill decks moving forward. Like I definitely see this. It's going to feel broken when they do assemble the stuff and they mill you, 10, 16 cards all in 1 turn. And like maybe they can do more. Maybe later on in the game, maybe you can just get 20 or so and you'll win once your deck is already kind of low enough. But I don't think it's going to be like a turbo combo deck, if that makes sense. Like Dorian is going to be like the Dorian stuff that's already not Dorian, Dungar. The Dungar stuff that's already happening is going to be a better like early turbo combo deck than this could ever be. But as far as it being a piece of Mill Druid and being a played card, definitely. What if this deck is the combo, but then you just copy this card when you run out of time and do it again? I mean, like, that fits within my parameters. Like, I like what I was talking about. It's not going to destroy your opponent early on from a full deck all on its own. But as like a piece of a larger mill deck, I think it'll be very good. Evergreen Stag, 6 mana, 6/7 beast, elusive, lifesteal, taunt. Does anything cheat this out? This is a 1, right? And it's kind of interesting, like if you resolve it, but like there's so much better things to do at 6. Ward of Earth, 5 mana nature spell, gain 5 armor, summon a random 5 cost minion, and give it taunt. Another 1. It might be good in standard though for the imbue deck. Photosynthesis, 3 mana nature spell, restore 6 health, get 3 random druid spells. This is good for the imbue deck, right? Because this is imbue twice. The imbue card, let's just go look at it so I can talk about it. Sorry, I'm going to skip ahead. So this is Hamul Rune Totem. You really can't see him. Like, his face is there. If you, like, squint, you can see it. This is, in fact, a Tauren, not some weird amalgam spore monster, which is what it looked like to me at a glance before. But yeah, start of game, each spell in your deck is nature. If each spell in your deck is nature, imbue your hero power. Then repeat this every 2 spells you cast. So while you have to hard run only nature spells, you don't have to, like, any spell you cast will further your imbue. So, like, the coin counts, for example. The coin will be half of your imbue trigger. So in that deck, for 3 mana, you get to restore 3 health, which is good, and you get 3 additional druid spells, which all of which do count towards imbuing further. And it's the raw volume that makes this interesting to me. Because, like, random druid spells in Wild are probably bad, but the fact that you get so many and it heals you means I think it has some potential, especially, like, if you've got a low hand, you can, like, Solar Eclipse play this and you have a bunch of stuff. I think I'm still going to give it a 1, but it's a reserved 1. I feel like this is almost good enough to play in that deck. We'll just have to see. Does that mean if you get spells that aren't nature shuffled into your deck, that would stop you from imbuing further? If you shuffle an odd cost card into your deck, does it undo your hero power? No, it's something that happens at start of game. If the conditions are met at start of game, then it happens. So you have that effect. You can shuffle stuff. Remember when Treant Druid was alright? What if you just add the legendary to Treant Druid? Pretty sure all those spells are nature anyway. No, it's like 2 of the best ones aren't, I think. So, like, where are our payoffs? That's nature. And that's nature. Huh, maybe I was wrong. What did I think wasn't nature? Interesting. Yeah, you're right. You could just do that. It's another good one. It's also nature. Not sure. Not sure. Witchwood Apple is even nature. Trees Druid is back. Maybe. But yeah, so I'll give that a 1. But it's a reserved 1. Reforestation, 2 mana, choose 1, draw a spell or draw a minion, and then you can hold it for 3 turns to draw both. I think that's a 2, isn't it? So, like, if you're running a very few minions druid deck, I think this is already good just because it draws a minion. So, like, between Pendant and this, you pretty reliably find your stuff. But and then if it holds, it's 2 mana, draw 2. And we know that holding is okay if the effect is good enough. And I think that's good enough, too, for draw 2. Isn't that good enough? It doesn't get you any armor, but it also gets you specific things, which I think is nice. So, I'll give that a 2. Kind of a soft 2. But, like, I think it's all right. Has anything been above a 3? My scale is 1 to 3. 3, like, 3 is something that's going to see wide play. 2 is something that I'll see pop up sometimes. 1 is duty. Okay, Horn of Plenty. 2 for nature spell. Discover a nature spell. It costs 2 less. I think this is a 2 because I'm going to give the Imbue Legendary a 2, and I think you're going to run every card that's like this in that deck. So, like, we have Nature Studies. We have, is it Contaminated Evidence? Is that what it's called? Which is like Nature Studies for a 2 mana discount, but you have to play the card that turn to get the discount. So I think you would play all 3 of those cards because this is 2 spell triggers for 2 mana, which is pretty decent. So you're going to imbue your hero power when you do this. So I'll give that a 2 because I think it just slots right into the imbue deck if that ends up being decent, and I think it'll be okay. It's probably not going to be like a meta deck, right? But like it, it's going to be good enough to have fun with. Dreambound Disciple. So 3 mana, 3/3, Battlecry and Death Rattle. Your hero power costs 0. How good is this for hero power druid in Wild? So it lets you use your hero power for free now. It is itself a 3/3. And after it dies, you get a free hero power again. I don't know, is it a 2? I think it's alright. Would you not play this? I wouldn't play Tour Guide, but Tour Guide is more of a hero discounter than like a tempo card, right? I don't know. I mean, this is kind of the same way. But you get 2 free hero powers out of this. Good for questline. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is like if we were going to play this in a Artanis questline druid, 2 mana 2/2 would be better. I mean, like making anything cheaper is always better, but cheese out 4 mana. Yeah. Oh no, it's a soft 2. I think there's a decent likelihood this doesn't see any play at all, but yeah, I could almost see it. Hamul Road Totem we talked about. I think that between like Invigorate, Bio Project, and all kinds of other cheap nature spells, like the fact that we have nature studies and contaminated evidence in Wild means that like between all those extra nature spells, I think that we have enough that this could be a Renathal deck and you wouldn't notice, right? Like it's kind of got that questline effect where it's running the Renathal without any downside because you get your consistency at the start of the game. So I could definitely see this being an all right deck. I think it'll be a fun deck, and like you could even run it mill, couldn't you? Because Solar Eclipse, Due Process, Naturalize are all nature. You don't get to run Moonlit Guidance because it's arcane, but yeah, like I think it'll be all right. So it's probably a soft 2. I think it's probably going to be one of those things where like, yeah, it's fine. You could win a game, but you wouldn't get to run Guff. You don't need to run Guff in Mildred. Like you can run a Sarah. I think it's fine. It's going to be one of those things where you probably just have better things to do. Like it's going to be not as good as some other builds you could make, but it's definitely going to be good enough to be fun. Ferocious Howl is nature as well, is it? I wouldn't run that. I was thinking about it yesterday. I think Ferocious Howl has had its time. Yeah, it's not nature. You can still run Jade Idol in the ETC. You could. You could also just run Kill Jaden. Like Kill Jaden is, I think, generally bad. If you're not running Untapped Potential, which for this you wouldn't be, then Kill Jaden is better than Jade Idol. Oh yeah, you have Shrubagizor. So cute. There's so many fun things to do. All right, then we have Symbiosis, which is a nature spell. You discover or choose one card from another class. So, Morbid Swarm. I should just show you guys. Hey, this says choose one to put on top. Huh? You get Wyvern Slumber. That's Druid. Deal 4 damage to an enemy hero or summon 2/3/2 wolves with rush. Blah. I remember using Spark of Life a lot in the Theorycraft when I was playing that deck. So you play this, and if you get Spark of Life, you get even another spell. Yuck. Is it choose one spell or choose one card? Card. Destroy a minion with 3 or less attack, or summon Strictly Better Shadow Word Pain, or summon a random 2-cost minion. Gain Poisonous this turn, or gain Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to all enemies. Summon 3/2/3 wolves. Summon 2 3/6 demons with taunt that can't attack or destroy an enemy minion. These are pretty bad. Yeah, I think it's probably bad. It has like two good hits there, I think. And I don't think that's enough. So that was Druid. I think Druid has some interesting imbue stuff to work with. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. I don't think it got anything particularly game changing. Oh wait, no, it got the nature guy, the nature gal, the one that makes treants when you play a nature spell. I imagine that card's gonna pop up in a lot of places. So yeah, I guess it's pretty good. But yeah, I think it probably nothing too game changing except for that one card. All right, Hunter, 4 mana 3/4 beast. Symbiosis into Spark of Life into Symbiosis into Spark of Life. Yeah, I guess you can. All right, so 4 mana 3/4 beast. Taunt Battlecry. If this has 4 or more attacks, summon a copy of this. 1 star? I guess it's meant to go with the Imbue hero power. I don't know if that's going to be any good in Wild. Verdant Dreams. Well, okay. So you can run Messenger. Let's say you have Messenger on 2 and you always draw this or something, right? Let's just say you do. How good would that be? So 4 mana 4/5 taunt and you summon 2 of them? Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Verdant Dreamsaver, 5 mana 4/7 beast. If this costs 3 or less, attack 2 random enemy minions. This is pretty good with the imbue. You can also harpoon gun it. So there's that. I think it's a one. It's a 1, right? You would never want to cast this unless it was discounted. Exotic Houndmaster, 2 mana 2/2, Battlecry, draw a beast, imbue your hero power. Not thinking about a full-on imbue deck, but just thinking about this on its own merits, right? Well, I was about to say we run 2 mana 1/3 draw a beast, but we don't, right? We play 2 mana 1/3 discover a copy of a beast, which is pretty different. But like if there's one specific beast we want, first of all, already good, right? Although no, fetch draws a minion and gets an extra effect if it is a beast, right? So never mind. Do we have draw a beast? Huh. So I'm trying to evaluate this card as 2 mana 2/2 draw a beast, and imbue is kind of like not really considered. Interesting. I don't know. We already have pretty decent access to beasts we want through Selective Breeder, so I don't know if this is a big game changer. Scavenger's Ingenuity. You're right. Yeah, that's better anyway. So yeah, never mind. 1 star. I don't really see kind of like what we're saying in chat is there are already so many hero power changers that are kind of mandatory in Hunter between Tavish and Niall and all that stuff. Like we have to not run so many good cards to play the imbue stuff. So like maybe a full-on imbue deck could be okay because like I was actually surprised at how lethal it was with just King Plush in standard, and we have some more access to like Tundra Rhino in Wild, but I don't know that the imbue activators are there, so it's hard to say for sure. It could be like a 0 mana Tundra Rhino is pretty good, so who knows. Spirit Bond, 3 mana nature spell, deal 3 damage to a minion. If it kills it, summon a 3/2 wolf with rush. Seems like a 2019 card. I'll give it a 1. I don't really see it. Amphibian Spirit, 2 mana nature spell, give a minion +2/+2, and death rattle, give a friendly minion +2/+2, and this death rattle. So as long as you can keep stuff on board, it chains forever. It's sad when you get a full clear though. This is a reference to a similar effect from Battlegrounds, right? And they kind of reprinted it recently. It's cute. I'll still give it a 1. I don't know that it's any good, but it's interesting. Brawl Bear Mantle. 5 mana 3/5. After you cast a spell, summon a random animal companion. Does Renathal Piles play enough spells for this? Tracking could run the 0 cost card that makes things attack something. Flare. Good in Secret Hunter? I guess. I'm gonna give this a 1, but like it's one of those ones where it is not gonna be a real deck, but like there's stuff you can do with it for sure. I'm gonna play with this at some point, I'm sure. Shepherd's Crook. 3 for 3/2. After your hero attacks, summon a 3/3 sheep that's dormant for 2 turns. So you get 2 sheeps a million years later. If this was dormant for 1 turn, I'd be into it. 2 turns is a lot, isn't it? Maybe this is amazing in standard. Who knows? But I'll give it a 1. Goldrin, 9 mana 9/9 beast, rush, friendly beast, deal double damage. This is another one that exists kind of just to make Malorn sad. I don't know. It's all right. I like how there's no way to know something is a wild god other than to know it. You know what I mean? Like there's no indicator here that it's a wild god. It's not wild god Goldrin or anything like that. But like you play Malorn enough times, you figure out which ones they are, or you could just know. But anyways, I mean, like if you can discount this is kind of a crazy finisher, isn't it? How am I playing this in Beast Hunter? I don't know. Because like, okay, so you harpoon gun this to 7. You go Rhino on 5, something else on 6, and then you play this on 7. And then you play Sing the Ancient Songs of Mungus. Whatever. What is that card called? Stranglethorn's Heart. You play Stranglethorn's Heart on 8, and like that's a lot of damage. Like Tundra Rhino and just Goldrin in your Stranglethorn's Heart pool is already 22 damage on its own. Yet any beast, you're doing Leerox, Goldrin, Hydro, Rhino. Spicy. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a soft 2. I feel like we could see this pop up. Grace of the Great Wolf. I saw this and I wasn't impressed with it as a discover option. I certainly don't want it in my deck. I'll give it a 1. Umbra Claw. 4 mana 5/2 beast, rush, death rattle, imbue your hero power. Beast with death rattle. That's too bad the egg stinks. It's too bad the egg stinks, chat. Huh. Okay, so wait, it's a beast, which is good. So like we could set it up so that our imbue stuff tutors this thing, like the 2 cost tutors it, and then we can like feign death and otherwise activate it a bunch. Maybe we could make the imbue hero power work, but then like we can't tutor it, right? Never mind, I take it back, because the hero power requires you to run beasts for it to be any good. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. The fact that it's a beast and it has a death rattle, I think, is pretty relevant for Hunter. So I'm still giving it a 1, but now I'm kind of more interested in building an imbue deck than I was a minute ago. And that's it for Hunter. So Hunter is all right. I don't know that I really got anything. Okay, so on to Mage. We have Kwanzu. Battlecry, discover a spell, choose to keep it or put it on top of your opponent's deck. I played this in the Theorycraft, and my spells were never bad enough to make my opponent skip a draw, right? I like every spell that I could put there at least had some utility, but in Wild, we actually have a horrendous discover pool. Absolute disaster of a discover pool. So for 3 mana, I could put Glacial Mysteries on the top of my opponent's deck. Thoughts? uh, um. So, anyways, if I was gonna play this, it would be in a Renathal value pile, and unfortunately, Mage already has the ultimate value pile in Hostage Mage, and you're not going to fit this into Hostage Mage, right? It would have to be like some weird Reno Mage build that runs bad cards. But like, I don't know. This is pretty spicy. It seems like a nice content clip moment, right? I'll give it a 1, but still, I could see myself playing it in some Potato Mage. Stellar Balance, 2 mana, get a Moonfire and a Starfire, give them +1 damage, +1 spell damage. 2 mana, forget 2 spells that didn't start in your deck. Eat your heart out, old Quest Mage. There's definitely a time when Quest Mage would have loved this card, but that time is not now. What are we doing with this in Mage? Because, like, if this gave you 2 Moonfires, it'd be a real card, probably. But the fact that it gives you a Starfire, like, who's going to cast this in Wild? I don't think anybody. I'll give it a 1. Spark of Life. Choose 1. Discover a Mage spell or discover a Druid spell. That's a 1. You have so many better ways to do this. Except, it gives you pretty decent access to a nature spell, right? Like, you could run this for the sake of Norganon's Borganons. Norga. Huh. I think it's still in 1, but it's interesting. Kanzu support. Forbidden Shrine. So 1 mana, spend all your mana, cast a random spell that costs that much. I think there is a time not too long ago in Wild when this would have been really interesting, but I think not now, right? Like, you have better things to do with your mana. I'll give it a 1. It is a 1 mana location, though. Cast a random spell. What costs 0 in Mage? Okay. Where's my Mage? So it's going to cast Ellie Evo, Flurry, Forbidden Flame, Freezing Potion, Hot Streak. I don't think it would cast Shifting Scroll, would it? But it might. So yeah, it's probably trash. I was thinking like you could cast it on 1 and discount your giant, but yeah. Alright, then we have Star Surge. Deal 1 damage to a minion, improved for each friendly minion that died this game. I think this is a really solid standard card. But, like, do you want to pay 3 mana to destroy a minion, but not on curve in Mage? I think we have better things to do. And I think the strong things that Mage is doing want your opponent to have their minions out, right? Like, you want them to stay out so you can keep freezing them over and over. So I don't know about this in Wild. I think I give it a 1, but you know, it's only because of the nature of what Wild Mage looks like right now. Asina, Battlecry. If 20 friendly minions have died this game, deal 20 damage randomly split among all enemies. I'm going to give this a 2. And that's because I don't think that this needs to be an imbue deck to be good. Like, you know, you could play an Acera brand deck and have this be your endgame win con, right? Like, this is a juiced up Astalor. So, like, Mordresh but worse. Oh, that's true. Like, you could just Mordresh. But Mordresh only does 10. This does 20. Oh man, Imbue LPG is probably good. Would probably be fun if it wasn't the worst deck I've ever heard of in my life. But yeah, that's kind of cute. I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't think you need to build your deck for the imbue hero power for this to be good as like a late game win condition. And maybe this doesn't manifest, but like I think you will see it pop up from time to time. Could this go on Secret Mage or not enough minions? Yeah, it almost could. I think. I think like 20 minutes. 20 minions is a lot. Yeah, I might be giving that. I might be underselling how hard that is, but I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have enough minions. Maybe you do need the imbue hero power. Not sure. All right, maybe I'll downgrade it to a 1. But I don't know. I'll give it the softest 2 instead of a 1. Divination, 2 mana arcane spell, destroy a friendly wisp, draw 3 cards. I was actually surprised at how bad this felt in Imbue Mage, in the Theorycraft, and in the Brawl. Like it takes so long for this to be online. You never get to play it early. Like if you play this early, you've paid 2 mana to deal 1 damage randomly and summon a 1/1 wisp. So like I don't know, it doesn't feel good to me. It feels like slow. I don't think you don't run it in the wisp deck like in standard, but it's like the worst part of the wisp package to me. So I don't know. It's okay, but it's not great. It's certainly not good in wild. I think it's a 1. Merry Moonkin, 4 mana 3/6 at the end of your turn, gain 1 armor, repeat for each wisp you control. Along the exact same lines as what I was just saying about the wisp, I was surprised at how bad this felt. It's so like if you've imbued a lot on turn 6, you can hero power and play this, and sometimes you'll gain 4 armor. Ugh. So definitely a 1 in wild. I think if the imbue mage is something, it doesn't play this card. And like I think if imbued mage is something, it might play this card, but I think it never plays this one. It has a maximum of 6 armor you get from this because it only gives you as much as you have wisps. Maybe if this was a wisp itself, but it's not. So Wisp Rider, 5 mana 4/4, Battlecry, imbue your hero power, then trigger it. Now I have to think about how good I think Wisp Mage is going to be. So the imbue hero power is deal 1 damage, summon a wisp, and then both of those numbers get changed every time you imbue. So if you've imbued 5 times, it's deal 5 damage randomly and summon 5 wisps. So from having played that in the Theorycraft stream and then again in the Brawl, I don't think this is good. Like, I don't think it's even... I don't think it has any real potential in Wild, just because you have to imbue several times before this is good. If you've imbued like 3 times, then the hero power is pretty good as far as like using Reckless Apprentice and Garrison Commander and Sing Along Buddy and all that stuff. Like, the hero power starts to get pretty good at a certain point, but that means you have to play a River Crocolisk. You have to play a 4 mana 4/4 Divine Shield taunt. There's a... Let's skip to it. This guy, so Battlecry, 2 mana 2/1. So already, I think this is worse than the neutral one, the one that's just a 2 mana 2/3. When I play this, you're playing a 2 mana 2/1, so like that's not good. You get a Wisp in hand, sure, but then like, so it's technically, you know, if you always play the Wisp, it's a 3/2, right? It's split over 2 bodies, which is kind of okay, but like, I don't know. You have the option to hold the thing. And yeah, I mean, like, you would play Wildfire, sure, absolutely you would, because that would increase the damage. It doesn't increase the wisps, but it does increase the damage. But you know, it also increases the damage of the regular hero power. So this I think is one of the better imbue cards because it triggers it. So you can, like, you know, you could theoretically Bran play this. You can play this with Buddy, Sing Along Buddy out. And so if you, like, on turn 9, right, you play Sing Along Buddy, play this, and then hero power, and you've triggered your hero power 4 times. So has more interesting applications than some of the other ones do, but getting your imbue up is so slow, and you need to imbue several times before the hero power is good. So I don't really see it. It's cute that it enables Denathrius. I will say that much. Like, I am excited to like play this deck in Wild. I just don't think it's going to be good. So because so much has to go right, I want to give this a 1, but I feel like it's fun enough that it will see play, so I want to give it a soft 2, but you know, it's somewhere in there. I'll say it's a 1, but yeah. Isn't the whole package actually insane with Reckless Apprentice? As I was just saying at length, it's good if you have played a bunch of the garbage cards I just listed. Like, if you've done them all, then yes, it is insane with Reckless Apprentice. But it isn't like you imbue once and then your Reckless Apprentice is good. It's not. It's bad. If you've played like several of them, sure. But I don't know. Okay, so say your opponent's playing Shadow Priest. You've played this thing on 2, you didn't do anything on 3, and then you Reckless Apprentice on 4. Your opponent has 6 things out. So you are dealing 1 damage and summoning 1 Wisp. But instead of it dealing 1 to all of them, it deals 1 randomly. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. I don't have too much faith in it because I've been playing it in the Brawl and in the Theorycraft stream, and it feels really slow, and you have to run really bad cards to get that going. But you never know. I think it'll be fun. Like, I'm going to enjoy playing it. I just don't think it has a lot of... You have to, like... The worlds have to align. The Wisp should have Rush. Alright, so that's all for Mage. They didn't get anything that spicy, right? The imbue stuff is going to be fun. I'm going to have some fun with that. But, like, I don't think we got... You know, it's seen as interesting. But, yeah, we didn't get anything like, you know, this is definitely going to get played. I think everything... I gave everything a 1, right? I don't think I gave anything a 2. I almost gave that 1 a 2. The one imbue and Trigger the hero power 1. Alright. I'm actually going to go use the restroom. I'll be right back. I think I'm just going to arbitrarily call that halfway. It really isn't, right? Like, Paladin, Priest... Rogue, Shaman, Warrior, Warlock. So it's halfway through the classes, but, like, including the neutrals, it's a lot longer. I probably should have called it before the last one. But I want to call it somewhere, so I guess I'll call it here. As far as like my video, I'm going to split it into two. So, I'm going to talk at you like your YouTube again. Greetings, fellow humans. This is the second installment of me talking about the Emerald Dream cards. So, second card review video. If you want to see the first one after this, it is the previous video. You can see the rest of my amazing takes on the new cards in Wild, where we did everything from neutrals to mage in the previous one. We're starting at paladin now. So, Renewing Flames, 7 mana nature spell. Actually, it didn't occur to me that this was a nature spell. Shouldn't it be holy? I mean, like, I don't know. Like, Emerald Dream stuff isn't holy. I guess it should be a nature spell. This is a spell that's meant to go with Ursul, right? It's Ursul. But so what the Ursul does, we'll get to it in a second. It's this class is Wild God. It's an 8 mana with stats, and it casts the highest cost spell in your hand as a sigil. So it'll trigger 3 times, or as a, what do they call the paladin ones? Auras. So it casts it as an aura. So at the end of your turn, this will trigger, and it goes 3 turns in a row. And in Standard, I think that's really strong. In Wild, I don't know. But like that's what this spell is meant to do. It's meant to go with Ursul. So, I think that's a little fair for Wild. I don't know what else we would do with this other than enjoy it. I'll give it a 1. Oh, that's the other thing. My scale is 1, 2, and 3. So a 1 is a card that's going to see no play. A 2 is a card that might see some play here and there, and a 3 is a card we're going to see a lot. So that's like each of those tiers has like, you know, power level differences in them, but you know, I like to keep it simple. So 1, 2, 3. This I'd see as a 1. I don't really see this as a good option over some other things, but it's all right. Mark of Ursul. So 2 mana, choose a minion. If it's an enemy, set its stats to 1/1. If it's friendly, set its stats to 3/3 instead. This is like a better Dark Conviction. Is that what the card was called? I think equality is better than this. I think the amount that it improves your own minion is not worth not hitting all of your opponent's minions. So I think it's probably bad. And that's how I feel about it. Here's Ursul. So yeah, it's an 8 mana 9/7. Cast the highest cost spell from your hand as an aura that lasts 3 turns. Renewing Flames is probably really good with that. Like, I'm sure it's good with that in Standard. Like, I've been playing, I got some 6-win brawls with that on the back of that interaction. But let's check if we can't do anything more exciting with that in Wild. Yeah, that's what I should just leave this here and tap to it. Classes, Paladin. It's highest cost spell, not, yeah, okay. So we want, why is it? I have Paladin and it shows me these Death Knight cards. Okay, there we go. We go from high to low. And we choose card type spell. Hey, King Donnie. So we could, man, I hate this. Why does this have to happen? Why can't it just go away? Oh, it can go away. I can just press that. Never mind. All right. So we can, anything can happen. Funny. We can sea shanty, actually. Almost interesting. Summon a minion from each player's deck. Repeat until either side of the battlefield is full. That's really bad as end of turn, right? Because then you don't get a chance to deal with the stuff you summon for your opponent. Tip and Libra. Summon a minion from your deck. Give it Taunt and Divine Shield. That's almost interesting. The end of your turn, summon a random 6-cost minion. Last 3 turns. Interesting. Dino size. I love that they changed this to be Ultra Source stats. It's so funny. Divine Toll. Shoots 5 rays at random minions. Oh, Kangors. All right, so the reason that looking at the high cost spells is interesting is because there's a weapon that tutors your highest cost stuff. So you could play two of the weapon and two weapon technician, and then tutor Ursul and Kangor's endless army, and like repeatedly summon big juiced up mechs over and over and over again. Interesting. Avenging Wrath. I think Renewing Flames is better than Avenging Wrath. Yeah, I'm not like really excited about any of this. I think we've already covered the really good ones. So the one that everyone wants to talk about is they buffed this, by the way, and I didn't notice. This is kind of exciting. Oh, Call to Arms. Nah. The one that everyone wants to talk about is, where are we? Did I already pass it? No, it should be towards the end of it. This one, Timeout. So your hero is immune until your next turn. So you can play Ursul, and then you can, if Timeout is the highest cost spell in your hand, you get 3 turns of immunity. And then, so like, that could be good, but what Paladin deck is going to do that? I think that Paladin right now has 2 win conditions, and it's either Holy Wrath, which is the main condition. You don't want Ursul randomly casting Holy Wrath 3 turns in a row. Or Uther. And if you're going Turbo Uther, which is probably the better way to run Uther, you're running Call to Arms, right? So you play Order in the Court to order your deck, gets you your Uther and then your Nozdormu. And then you can Nozdormu to play your Uther, whatever. But then you're running Call to Arms to go fish for your little squibbies. So not only does Ursul mess with your Call to Arms order, you're finding Nozdormu at least a turn slower. But if you drew one of your Call to Arms early, you can never, ever cast Ursul. Ever. You can't cast it because it will always hit Call to Arms over Timeout. And you don't want your Call to Arms to summon all of your combo pieces before it's combo time. So, I don't think there's a deck that could play it. Like, you can't do anything worth doing in Paladin and also run Ursul reliably hitting Timeout. So, I don't think that's a thing. That's something you could do for the sake of it being cute, but it's not going to be good. So I want to give Ursula a 1, honestly, which is kind of weird because I think it's actually decent, but I don't think it has the right spell. Like, Kangor's Endless Army, I will almost want to give it a 2 for Kangor's because, like, you can reliably do that. You can use the weapon to find it. So maybe I'll give it the softest 2. But if it sees play, it's a Kangor. It's to recast Kangor. That's the only way I could see it. And here's the weapon I was talking about. So 4 mana, 4/2. After your hero attacks, draw your highest cost card. I think the fact that this is a 4 cost card makes it awkward for the Uther Paladin deck. But otherwise, I would like it. Like, say this was a 3 for 3/2, and it doesn't disrupt your Order in the Court order. But it also doesn't matter that it draws your highest cost at that point. But, yeah, I mean, like, it's a good way to hit Uther. And then, if you're lucky, the next card it hits will be Nozdormu. So that's decent. It draws your Ceaseless. Yeah, so, like, Holy Wrath, you don't want this. For sure. But, I mean, like, I could see it in, like, a Reno Paladin that isn't using, if your Reno Paladin is not using Holy Wrath as its win condition, I could see this for sure. Dream Warden. So 4 mana, 3/4, taunt, battle cry. If there is a card in your deck that didn't start there, draw it and gain +2/+2. So can we do Ysera, Nozdormu, Slow Paladin with Cthulhu? So, like, I don't think the imbue deck has any potential in Paladin, in Wild rather. I think it almost has potential in Standard, but I think it's going to get overshadowed by Libram stuff. The fact that you have to like hero power to get those portals into your deck, I think makes the imbue deck bad. Like 2 mana for no immediate impact is bad. I know because I played a ton of it in the Theorycraft and then in the Brawl. I think it's good enough in Standard, I think, to be decent. You know, it's a lot of inevitability, but finding the time to be able to spend 2 mana to shuffle portals is hard. It's like just good enough. So like for this to be good in Wild, we need non-imbue things for it to find. So Cthulhu is a meme, but like it would be fun because there's this and another card. We could find those pieces pretty reliably. And when it finds something, it's a 5/6 taunt, right? That's not bad. But the other one is Mankrik, yes. So we can play Mankrik on 3 and then play this on 4, and that's really solid if we have Mankrik. But we can't tutor Mankrik. So like, are we going to run this guy and the 1-cost card with only Mankrik synergy? Mankrik is the one that summons, like it puts Mankrik, Ankry Mankrik into your deck. They didn't unnerf it, so it's a 3/7 still, and it attacks a random enemy when it comes out. So if you always had Mankrik on 3 into this on 4, I would say, yeah, for sure, this is good. But we need other stuff to get out of your deck with this for it to be good. Like what else is there in Paladin? You can get your Google Prime. You can get Immortal Prelate back. Yeah, that's not what I meant to do. You can't get Immortal Prelate back, right? It's like it didn't start there. This started there. That's a shame. How about neutral? You could use it to draw your Hakars. Son of Hodier. Interesting. I mean, it's not good enough, but should we play Rivendare War Rider Paladin? Is it a card or if there's a card? Okay, it is card, not spell. Oh my goodness, chat. We'll just play it with Malchezaar. Why not? Why not, chat? Give me one good reason why we shouldn't Malchezaar. He has to find the map. Is Greenwing good enough, actually? Probably not. I've had a battle cry. This shuffles a copy, so you could get Floppy Hydra back. You get Baleful Bank or something. Get your Fizzle. All right, I guess we have some options. I don't think they're good enough. I'm still going to give this a 1, but, you know, it's cute. Then we have, okay, so here's the 1 mana, the one that does something similar. So you draw a spell that started in your deck and one that didn't. So it's draw 2 cards if there's stuff in your deck. It almost gives Cthulhu some value just because it becomes draw 2 cards. How good is 1 mana, draw a good card and a bad card? How good is that? Because if 1 mana, draw a good card and a bad card is good enough, we could run Cthulhu and Mankrik and this and that other thing. But probably not, right? Crystology Project. Throw it in Reno Paladin, play it after Marin the Manager. I mean, like, you need more than that, I think. You need a lot more. The fact that Cthulhu is every time, like, there will be stuff in your deck gives it some value. I think. Like, uh, I don't think if you're running just Mankrik and just Marin, I don't think it's enough. Like, this is going to be a dead card in your deck for a long time. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm gonna give them ones, but like, it's the type of one where there's still something to do with it. Aegis of Light. So this is only going to be as good as imbuing is. So it's 1 for summon a random 1-cost minion and give it taunt, and then you imbue your hero power. It is holy, so we can tutor it. Holy, we can tutor it. So we can Crystology, Knight of Anointment. If we want to, it can always hit this, but I think we do have to at least run this. Kind of cute. I think Imbue Paladin is going to be really not great in Wild. I'm not really seeing it. So it summons a random dragon equal to the cost, whose cost is equal to the amount of times you've imbued. So you have to imbue a lot before you get a decent dragon. And yeah, I don't think we're... The fact that I can Crystology to find this, I think makes it a little bit more interesting, but I think it's still a 1. Gold Petal Drake. So red scale, we can find this pretty reliably. 3 mana, 3/4 dragon, Battlecry and Death Rattle imbue your hero power. So again, we can, with reliability, find this a lot of the time, played on curve. Standard can too. I think, isn't the core set getting red scale back? 3 mana wild. You guys gotta be careful. Like, just pretending the 3 mana cards are, I don't know. Hey, 3 mana wild, huh? 3 mana cards are playable in wild. But yeah, I don't think this is great. Just don't be stupid about it. Sorry, I'm making this for YouTube. I shouldn't focus on people being dumb in my chat. Just, I'm tired of not calling people stupid when they're being stupid. But yeah, I mean, like, not because it's 3 mana, but just because, you know, the nature of how imbue is. I don't think this is very strong, but we can find it reliably. So is that the only thing that searches for dragons in Paladin? Draw a dragon. Draw a dragon? Nope. I can't search for it that way, so we'll never know. Is the 3/3 undead with Death Rattle, right? What are you talking about? I don't know. But yeah, I give that a 1 just because I don't have a lot of faith in the imbue. So then, Torith the Unbreaking, 3 mana or 5 mana, 3/4 Divine Shield taunt, and your Divine Shields take 3 hits to break. I looked at this and thought it was like a really stupid card, but then I played against it in the Theorycraft and in the Brawl, and it's like unkillable. It's so unkillable. Like, it comes down and then it's just like, it takes so much to get through it. And like, you can silence it, right? But you have to have a silence. So if you have Divine Shields out already, or you play it on 6 with a Righteous Protector, they never get to you. You can give your hero Divine Shield 2. That's true, yeah. I actually think this might be a 2. The thing is, like, what deck are you putting this in, right? Do you just play it as a defensive taunt that can block 3 things? Like, you just drop it with no synergy? You can replay the Divine Shield on it too. That's cute. Yeah. I don't know. This card's probably going to see some play somewhere. Maybe. Unless it doesn't. I'll give it a 2. I'll be generous. We'll give it a 2. Then we have Lightmender. 4 mana, 3/5 taunt, choose 1. +3 attack and Divine Shield, or +3 health and lifesteal. This didn't even feel good in the Theorycraft stream, so I'm gonna give that a 1. It seems like it's 2 years too old or something. This is pack filler now. All right, so that was Paladin. Paladin got some interesting tools, but I don't know that it got anything like super game changing. I don't. Yeah, I don't think you really got anything that like I think will see play in Wild. So on to Priest, we have Imbue Your Hero Power. This is why they reworked Raza. So if you were a Raza Highlander deck enthusiast in Wild, you can get wrecked. It's you discover a temporary spell or a temporary minion, and its cost is reduced by the amount of times you've imbued. And yeah, so this is a 2 for 3/1 beast lifesteal, and you imbue your hero power. I can't like maybe if Wild had Raza, it'd be something cute that you could run for the sake of it. But don't know if they really had to gut Wild Raza for that. Like the Raza they changed is standard Raza. It's a standard Raza. It's a standard card. They were worried about the implications of it for standard. Anyways, yeah. Do I think this is good? Probably not. Just because like the having to run a River Croc and 4 Divine Shield Taunt to make all these imbue things work is but it's a 3/1 beast with lifesteal, so it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's still a 1 though. Keldrai Priestess, 4 mana, 4/4 Battlecry. Give all enemy minions -2 attack until your next turn. Imbue your hero power. This is a super one. I think both of the neutral ones are better than this. Like, it gives you a little bit of stall power, but like, I don't know. It's like one of the worst imbue cards that's around, right? Like, it's such weird impact. Even if it gave all enemy minions -2 attack permanently, I'm not that excited about it. I think it's a 1. Moonwell, 7 mana, deal 4 damage to all enemy characters, restore 4 health to all friendly characters. So this is like Flame Strike, like old Flame Strike, but it also heals from your own stuff. How would I feel about Ursul if it had access to this? Like, this is a good Ursul spell, right? Like, if I could, if this was a Paladin card, and I could play that weapon to draw the highest cost, and I got Ursul and this, like, that'd be neat, right? I think so. But obviously it's not. In Priest in Wild doesn't even run the 7-cost broken board clears that it used to, right? So I don't think we're going to play this, but yeah, I'll give it a 1. It doesn't even have a type, right? Like the fact that it's not a shadow spell, first of all, I think automatically disqualifies it, because like what Wild Priest deck is going to want to play a 7 mana spell that isn't also playing Benedictus? So yeah, I don't know. Twilight Influence. Destroy a minion with 3 or less attack, or summon a random 2-cost minion. Shadow spell. So there was a time when Shadow Word Pain was good enough for Shadow Raza Priest. That time has passed. However, this is either destroy a minion if you need it to on curve, or get a little bit of tempo on curve. So this is pretty significantly better than that. I almost like, I'll give it a 2. And I'm gonna give it a 2 because it's like gonna see play in some people's Renathal piles, but I don't know if it's especially strong, but you're gonna see it, I think. Ritual of the New Moon, 5 mana arcane spell, summon 2 random 3-cost minions, and then you can cast 3 spells to summon 6-cost minions instead. This is actually the first time seeing this card. I didn't notice this card before. 3 6-cost minions. I think this is here to be an exciting imbue card. Like, if you've imbued enough, you can get this. But you need to cast 3 spells to make it good, so maybe not. Huh. It's kind of a lot of a tempo if you can activate it. It's a 1. I don't know. Wish of the New Moon. So when I first saw this card, it was already activated. So it's 3 mana, deal 6 damage to a minion, and you can cast 3 spells to gain lifesteal. And the first time I saw this card, it was already activated. I was like, why are they getting a better version of the Death Knight spell? You know, like it's the exact same card, right? But 1 less mana. But it isn't, right? You have to work to make this a better card than that. So it's interesting. But it is not Shadow, right? So this would have had to be Shadow, or would have had to be able to go face, and it doesn't do those things. So it's a 1. Weaver of the Cycle, 3 mana, 3/3. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, deal 3 damage. So is 3 mana, 3/3, no condition, deal 3 damage. How good is that? Like, if this is no condition, would it be good? I think it would be all right? Like, it wouldn't be great, but it'd be all right. But we don't really run. So the 5 cost spells we play in Priest are like Mass Hysteria, and that's it. We don't run Scream. We don't run Mirror. We don't run Light Bomb. We don't run any of that stuff anymore. So like, this is a pretty tough condition to meet, I guess. I think, you know, if we were running Mass Hysteria and Psychic Scream and what was that other 7 cost spell called, the Mirror one? If we were running all that, then yeah, sure. I think this would see play, but we aren't, so I don't think we are. So 1. Tyrande, 7 mana, 5/7 Battlecry. The next 3 spells you play cast twice. What are our high cost priest spells that we'd want to do this with? Mass Resurrect, cute. Whirlpool. Wait. They just cast twice, right? So okay, wait. It's not like the Ursel. I take it back. Mind Blast. I was thinking Mind Blast too, but like if you're gonna do a Mind Blast thing with this, you're just playing Shadow Priest, and this is too expensive for Shadow Priest. Oh my goodness, Standard seems good. But I guess maybe I am looking at 2 high cost cards. Like, what do you want with this? Is it better than Vargoth? That's a really good point. It probably is not. Yeah, it's like Mind Blast or nothing, right? Okay, so you can say you play this in like a Renathal pile, and then you add Mind Blast and Acupuncture. You could on 10 deal 18 damage from hand this way. If your stuff is already online, you could, you know, if you've already played Raza and Anduin, you could, you know, deal even more damage than that. Doesn't have to be a big spell to be good twice, yeah. Shattered Reflections. That is a priest card too, isn't it? I'm gonna give this a 1, but like, I don't know. It's interesting. Selenic Drake. 4 mana, 3/6 dragon. Elusive. At the end of your turn, get a random dragon. I did not realize this was a priest card because I've only ever seen it off of the Imbue hero power in Paladin. This is obviously not a wild card, so it's a 1 cost. Or it's a 1 star, rather. Yeah. Shadow Visions into Tomb Mind Blast for 20 damage. Pretty spicy. Aviana, Elune's Chosen. So 9 mana, 7/11 Battlecry. This does not like... Did this happen to Aviana in World of Warcraft? Did she like undergo some transformation that she looks like this? Like, it's so bizarre to me. This does not look like Aviana at all. This looks like a whole separate entity. Does anyone know? Do I have any like WoW fans? Did Aviana like transform into a bird thing? Thoughts, Sparkly? He doesn't have any thoughts. He doesn't know. He doesn't play WoW. Anyway, so like, it's just really bizarre to me. It's like, Aviana, really? I don't think so. Not the Aviana I know. So you play this. It's a 9 mana 7/11. So it costs a jillion mana. Then you start a 3-turn lunar cycle, and when the full moon rises, your cards cost 1 this game. So is turn 1 the turn you play this, or is it the beginning of your next turn? So is it you play this on turn 1 and then turn 2, turn 3, or is it you play this and then turn 1, turn 2, turn 3? Is it meant to be a nightmare, Aviana? Is that what you guys are saying? I don't know, but it's a very, very weird design choice to me. Anyways, either way, I think this is probably just not good and wild. It's cute. I don't know that it's any good. Seems kind of bad. Obviously, if you get to the end of it, all your stuff costing 1 is pretty good, especially if you were able to like play Raza and Anduin. Suddenly all of your stuff is a hero power trigger. So I'll probably play with it. It's probably not good. All right, so that was Priest. I wasn't excited about anything, right? Yeah, it's like the removal spell is, I think, the only thing I gave more than a 1. The 2 cost removal, the like strictly better Shadow Word Pain. Unlucky. All right, so Harbinger of the Blighted, onto the Rogue. I saw a J. Alex post where he showcased a Brawl deck based around all the Shadow Step stuff, and I went 6-2 on my first and only try with that deck, so might be okay. Except that it's losing a bunch of its synergies next year, as far as like the core set was the same for this Brawl, and there were a lot of like, you know, like Leroy was in the deck, so it won't have Leroy next year for standard. Is Firefly sticking around or no? I don't know. You guys don't know either. But this felt like a really strong card. You play it on 2 and Shadow Step it, or you play it on 2, and if it sticks, you get to like you coin it on 1 and then play the new Shadow Step-esque spider card. And that's a ton of stats. Every time this comes back to your hand, it's so much stats. So we have like what we have that standard won't is like Breakdance and Tenwu, and is that all that's good? We have third copy of various spells with Shadow of Demise. Youthful Brewmaster and Daring Escape, I guess. So, like, as far as good ones, I think we have Bounce Around, Shadow of Demise, and Tenwu. But Tenwu only possibly. So, I think this will be good in some Miracle Rogue builds. Like, it's not bad at all. But, I'm going to give it a soft 2. I could also see it just being, like, slightly too bad to play. But I think it's a pretty solid card. Web of Deception. So 2 mana, return a friendly minion to your hand, summon a 4/4 spider with stealth. So this is kind of good in like a similar way that Bounce Around or Breakdance is good, because like Breakdance is less about getting the minion back and more about making a bunch of stats for 1 mana. So like Breakdance, you get a giant back, you get an 8/8 with Rush. This is like twice as much as Breakdance and has a much harder cap on what it can summon, so it's kind of more important that you're bringing back something you want to get back, which is what makes me think it might not be any good. But you know, it's probably an okay Quest Rogue card. Um, it's a little better in the early game and quite a bit worse once stuff like Giants are online. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I want to give it a 2 because I think like it's pretty solid for what it does, but it's not a confident 2. This could be awful. So isn't Doomsayer too? You guys are so funny. They're like there are literally 1,000,000,000,000 billion 2-cost cards in Wild. Yes, Doomsayer's in there. It'll happen sometimes. Like it'll happen to an individual once, like out of every 2,000 people who play this card. Like yes, Doomsayer's in there. It's not a factor of whether or not this is good. Like it will be good despite Doomsayer. That's not a factor at all. Cute Rogue. Okay, so there's the other thing. We have this let's find it. Here it is. So when you play another minion you've already played, draw a card, 1 mana 1/3 beast. This card is fantastic and has a lot of synergy with Web of Deception. So you play whatever 1 cost and like attack with it or something, or whatever value you get out of it. And then on turn 2, you get it back to your hand and you get a 4/4 spider with stealth, which is good stats. And then you have a card back in your hand to draw a card off of Twisted Web Weaver later on. Oh, it's got a little Brightwing guy in there. So sad. So as far as like this card seeing any play, I feel like this is a really important piece of that. So like I'll give this a 2 mostly because this exists. So obviously Shadow Step and Breakdance are better for this than that, but this is a really solid card. What I want to know is, Quest Rogue aside, is Flybooter any good just because of this? Like, not like Fly Caverns Below aside, does Flybooter, is that good with this? It's hypothetical full draw with Penflinger. How are we doing that? There's got to be a third piece of that, right? Does the second copy of the same minion in your deck count for this? Yes. Yes, it does. Pretend it's Garrett Rogue and this is Field Contact. You just mean a lot of draw. I thought you were saying that it's infinite draw. Or do you mean like with Quasar? You just mean it's a lot of draw, not you can draw infinitely. Yeah, like I could definitely see how Penflinger makes this like draw a ton of cards. I think this is a 3-star card. But I don't know how instantly you draw your full deck with this. But like definitely with like coins and stuff, sure. You could like clear stuff with Penflinger and draw a bunch of cards. Like I think this is a 3-star card. I think this card's gonna be phenomenal. And has some pretty good implications for that other stuff. So we're gonna see this. We're gonna see this manifest in some way. Maybe not just with Penflinger, but maybe with Penflinger. I don't know. It's definitely a Quest Rogue card too. The flavor text seems like Marshy wrote it. The spider's so evil that it catches things in its web and eats them. Yeah, real. All right, then we have Renferal, not to be confused with Renathal, the Malignant. 3 mana 3/3 beast. Trap 1 random card in your opponent's hand for a turn. Improved for each time you've played this. It traps more cards the more times it's played. I actually forgot this card existed. So you play it on 3 and then you step it. Then you play it on 4 and you either do the 2-cost thing or you bounce around it. Oh my goodness, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna do this. It's got to be bad, right? Is there a neutral way to draw a beast other than that like expensive one? Draw a beast. I was curator, but like that's too late. Draw a beast. We want in rogue. Okay, so draw a beast, cost 3 less. Or draw a beast, a dragon, and a murloc. And we're gonna be running it. We're gonna be running in that same deck that has the in the same deck that has the 1/3 in it. So we're not even reliably hitting it. The answer is Shroud, Swindle, Dig. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Just run the draw minion. You don't care that it's a beast. Just means you can't run that many minions. I was thinking about something that specifically finds this 100% of the time, but like when I went down that rabbit hole, I forgot that this is also a beast. So, do I think this is gonna be good? Probably not, right? Like you need to invest a lot into this one minion that you could be investing into other things that win the game faster. Do I think it has a high potential for me to annoy people? Absolutely. I'm kind of looking forward to that. When it says played this, does it mean Renferal the Malignant period? Or does it mean this exact copy that I've brought back to my hand? Because, like, if I Togwaggle scheme this, when do they get their cards back? Do they get the cards back on their turn, or do they get them back on my turn? It's like end of their turn, beginning of my next turn. What is it? Does anyone know? I don't know. I know it's one turn off, but like if they get it going back to their next turn or coming back to my turn is a big difference. Like it means whether or not I can chain their hand away forever. Does anyone know? Does anyone have a legit answer to me? At the end of their turn? Okay, cool. So, yeah. At a certain point, you just lock your opponent out of their hand for the rest of the game. It'll be funny. It's not going to be good, right? So I'm going to give it 1. Tricky Satyr, 3 mana, 4/3 demon. Get a copy of the lowest cost card in your opponent's hand. That's a card. Is this good in standard? Not sure. Not good in wild. Nightmare Fuel, 1 mana, discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck, combo with a dark gift. I don't like this is like odd rogue type of card, right? Like even then not necessarily, but like something where it's just kind of like cheap tempo value. And that doesn't really exist in rogue right now. Yeah. Keep in mind, dark gifts are like 2 mana effects. This selects from your opponent's power cards. So you think this is good? What would you play it in? Like, I can't imagine it. Like, I wouldn't put it in Pirate Rogue, wouldn't put it in Miracle Rogue. I guess, like, is there Arena Rogue? It's a Velorok card? You think it's Renathal Pile playable? Oh, yeah, I just don't think that, like, Rogue is the best Renathal Pile class. Maybe it's underplayed, I don't know. I don't think it's going to take Rogue from not a Renathal Pile class to a good Renathal Pile class. So I think I'll probably give it a 1, but maybe, I don't know. Mimicry, 1 mana, your opponent draws 2 cards, you get copies of them. Can we ruin our opponent's good time with this somehow by playing a bunch of them? Mill Rogue is so back. I guess we're bouncing Cold Light Oracle, and we did get another Shadow Step, even though it's not a very good one for that. It's like a reverse Shadow Step. Instead of it costing 2 less, it costs 2 more. If you're using it just to bounce. So Hmm. I don't know. I mean, like if you're running Miracle Rogue, you always run this, right? This would be good in Mill, but it doesn't solve any of Mill's problems. Exactly. Yeah, there you are. I was trying to think if there's a way that you could play it a bunch, but there's not a good way you can do that, right? I don't think so. So it's a 1. Shadow Cloaked Assailant, 4 mana 3/5 demon. If you're holding one of the same cards as your opponent, shuffle theirs into their deck. Okay, I don't know. It's not good, right? Like this would have to be a 1 mana 1/2 or 1 mana 1/3, I think, for me to be excited about it. But like, if you're playing something to copy something from your opponent, and then the next turn you're playing a 4 mana 3/5 on curve to get rid of a card in their hand, like, kind of bad. Will be good in Priest? I don't think so. I think it's just bad. I think it's just yucky doo-doos. Like, it's a 4 mana 3/5 to get rid of a card in your opponent's hand if you've done something. Like, if this was just 4 mana 3/5, shuffle a card in your opponent's hand into their deck, I wouldn't play that. What deck is going to play that? It's worth Gravedigger. Yeah, and the Gravedigger discovers, right? You get to pick from 3. Not good, better. Okay, fair enough. Ashmane. All right. When I first saw this card, I was like, whatever about it. But then I played against it in the Theorycraft and in the Brawl, and it's like, oh my goodness, this card is nasty. I think this card is really good in Standard. Do I think it's good in Wild? Probably not. I just like, is there a rogue deck that wants to get to 9 mana and play this? If you do, it gives you a handful of good cards that cost 3 less, right? It's not even random cards. It's stuff from your opponent's deck. So it fills your hand with good cards. Are we making this cheaper somehow? I don't think so. But like, I don't know. If you play this, it's really strong. I don't think that there's a rogue deck that wants to get to 9 mana. If there was, I'd be a lot more excited about it. But we're not, like, if we're playing rogue, we're not really trying to get to 9 mana. So I don't think this is great. I'm not even sure standard rogue wants to go to 9 mana unless it's Starships, which probably doesn't want this. Really? I thought it was really good when it was played against me. That was really strong. Thief Rogue? I mean, like, if you're running Thief Rogue, you're running Thief. Like, if this is a Thief Rogue tier card, then it's a Thief Rogue tier card. We don't need to talk about it. I'm trying to think if it's good. Cattle Rustler makes this a 6. If you don't want, if you want to play 2 Cattle Rustlers and you don't want to run the new 1 mana 1/3 Auctioneer, then sure. But yeah. Now we need a card to make your hand limitless. If this gets you 5 cards that cost 3 less, it's so strong. But yeah, I think it's a 1 for Wild. But, you know, I think it's a really good card if you could get it out early or if some kind of slower rogue deck manifests. Barbed Thorn. 3 mana 1/3, choose 1, gain poisonous this turn, or gain death rattle, deal 2 damage to all enemies. It's like super awful. Isn't this hot trash? Why is this so bad? This is really bad. How did this card get so bad, chat? Wait. Is there something about... It's a bad joke? Just about the worst card of the set? I don't know, I've seen some sneakers, but I guess it's up there. Nothing you're missing, it just sucks? Okay, cool. Moving on. That's a 1. Alright, so that was Rogue. Rogue has some really interesting cards. I think it's got some of the more interesting cards we've seen so far. I don't know that they quite manifest into anything like really strong and wild, but for people who like to explore those type of things, I think it gives you a lot to mess around with. Then for Shaman, we have Glow Root Lure. 6 mana, taunt, 6/6. Cost 1 less for each time you've used your hero power this game. Well, chat, is there a deck that wants to use its hero power a whole bunch of times, and then play really cheap taunts? I think there is. I think there's one. I don't know that this is gonna take even Shaman from being unplayable to being playable, to be honest. Well, like, so you hero power on 1, play a 2 cost on 2, hero power, play a 2 on 3. Like, it doesn't actually come down really fast. If you compare it to Think From Below scales off of like your hero power and all the cards you're playing, whereas this just reduces off of your hero power. So like, you've used it 3 times, you're summoning a 3 for 6/6 taunt. It's decent, but I don't know that this is actually any good. But here, even Shaman is what comes to mind when I see this. I think I'm gonna give it a 1, but it's that's the other thing too, is it has to be even Shaman and Wild, right? This is meant to go with the imbue Shaman stuff. But if we're playing it in Wild, it's because of even Shaman. The hero power in Shaman is otherwise notoriously bad, right? So like you don't want to be hero powering in any other deck than even Shaman. And even Shaman, I don't know that you press the hero power button enough times for this to be good. So I'm gonna give it a 1. But possibility to show up in even Shaman. Then we have Aspects and Race, 2 mana, restore 4 health, imbue your hero power. I really like the art on this one. It's cool. But otherwise, it's only as good as an imbue deck is. I think it's a good imbue card. Do we have ways to... We have like triangulate, right? So we could like play this and triangulate. And then maybe we can imbue without having to use the awful neutral cards. The art in the set overall has been really good. Yeah, it's a huge. I don't know. I wish I knew for a fact that this year's style was here to stay, because like both in card design and in art and in like set flavor, it's much more back in the direction that I appreciate. So like I would love to be confident that we were going to see sets like this from here on out, but we'll see what they have next year. It's cool to have a year of good flavor design at least. Anyways, like Evolve in Wild I don't think is gonna be any good, and the tools I'm thinking of that could make this a bit better are also standard available, so it's not like we're bringing anything new to the table. DK Thrall hero power and Shambles, yep. It's evolved by it's the imbue hero power is evolve a minion as many times as you've imbued. Typhoon, 10 mana. Each minion gets shuffled into a random player's deck. So it's worse Psychic Scream for 3 extra mana. How is this so bad? This exists for Yogg? I guess so. So this is a 1. Plucky Podling, 1 mana, 1/2. If this will transform into a minion, it transforms into one that costs 2 more. It's actually like, if Evolved Shaman was ever going to be thing in Wild, it would definitely play this, right? This is great for an Evolved deck. I don't like, are the rest of the pieces there? I don't think so. The imbue minions are a little bit better in an Evolved deck, aren't they? Because you just evolve them. Huh. I don't know. I think it's like, it's not going to be a good deck, but it might be good enough that someone like me could play it and enjoy it. Then we have Emerald Bounty. So draw 2 cards and you can't play them for 2 turns. I'd rather overload 1, wouldn't I? Evolved is capped at 10 now. Makes a big difference, does it? Like, if I'm evolving things to 11, I think I'm already happy. Like, if I'm evolving things if my imbue is high enough to turn things into 11 cost cards, then I'm happy, aren't I? Regardless. Like, sure, 10 is better, but I don't think that makes or breaks whether Evolve is good. No, you guys are saying, like, don't forget that it's capped at 10 now, like it matters. That's what I'm saying. I understand that that's true. I'm just saying, like, if things are going well enough in my game that my evolves are turning things into snow flurry giants or whatever they're called, the 8/8s, I'm happy, right? We're winning. If that, I don't think that changes it, right? We're already making giant things with our evolves, so like they're better giant things, but like the problem isn't making big exciting stuff. It's getting to the point where we can make big exciting stuff. So I don't think the evolve capping at 10 is going to make or break whether or not wild evolve is playable. Is my point. But isn't this Dookie? Why is this card so bad? Who made this card so bad? Like it, Shaman already had a better one. Isn't Overload 1 better than this? Or no? Shaman tax? Weird. It's a 1, right? Not even Renathal Shutter Shaman would play this. Reno Renathal. Spirit of the Forest, 5 mana, choose 1, summon 3/2/3 wolves with taunt, or summon 2/4/3 falcons with Wind Fury. That's a 1. Beanstalk Brute, 5 mana, 4/4 elemental, give +4/+4 to the top 3 minions in your deck. It's cute, but it's probably not good, right? Onhara, 9. Oh, so this is a 1. Onhara, 9 mana, 5/11 beast. At the end of your turn, play the top 3 cards from your deck. So when it says play, will you get the battle cry triggers? Because normally in times like these, it wouldn't. We don't? Okay. This card is awful. What are we doing this with? Big Shaman? Is this Big Shaman? Because other than the one Battlecry minion, you don't mind playing your top 3 cards. But I mean, like, you want your summon to win you the game, right? So you'd much rather this just hit the minions that you would hope that this would hit than have this. So yeah, no, this is a 1. Marithra, 6 mana, 4/8, 6 mana, 4/4. Resurrect all different friendly minions that cost 8 or more. If this was a spell, it would be a nasty, nasty Big Shaman spell. But unfortunately, it's a minion. Shudderwalk. Resurrects all your Shudderwalks that have died. Is that good? It resurrects a Shudder. But yeah, you're right, it's different. So it's only 1. Oh, Shudderwalk would not... I see what you're saying. All right, I'm out. I think that's a 1, isn't it? What other way would this be good? It just wouldn't be. It's a sweet card, though. Living Garden, 3 mana, 2/3 elemental. Imbue your hero power. Reduce the... Oh, you know what? That version of Questline Shaman that summons all the giants. This would resurrect giants. Your opponent clears your arcane golems. You play this the turn after. It brings them all back. I mean, like, it's not going to take that deck from nobody plays it to plays it again. So there's that, but I guess that's how I'd play it if I was going to. 3 mana, 2/3. Battlecry, imbue your hero power, reduce the cost of a minion in your hand by 1. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I'm kind of warming up to this Shaman Imbue card. I'm warming up to it. I don't know. I think it's not going to like a 2, right? But it's going from unplayable 1 to like I think I'll get a video or 2 out of it. Type of 1. All right, so that was all the Shaman stuff. There wasn't anything I was that excited about, right? Like, yeah. Even Shaman 1 isn't even that great. All right, on to Warlock. We have Abracadabra. It's a 10 mana 8/9 beast. The next card you play costs your opponent's health instead of mana, up to 10. This has been really good off of Malorn. Thank you for not butchering his name. Wow. Yeah. Why up to 10 mana? So you can't just play the Ceaseless Expanse for 56 and kill your opponent with it. But it's funny. In Wild, you have Expired Merchant plus Shallow Grave. Caught the Streaming Martian. What up, Kyle? What's Shallow Grave? Trigger a friendly minion's death rattle, then destroy it. Oh, you're talking about just copying it? We need this to cost 0. So do we play it in Spaghetti Plot Twist Paladin? Or Plot Twist Warlock? I guess. It's a beast for our curator. I feel like this has got to be a 1, right? Like, it's a 10 mana Pyroblast. You get a free 8/9 beast alongside your 10 mana card, and it Pyroblasts your opponent. Oh, you could draw it off Symphony. That's true. You could Symphony it. Then what? Yeah, I'll give it a 1. I think it like you could do funny stuff with it, but you're not going to do something like good with it. Hungering Spaghetti. So 8 mana, 6/7. At the end of your turn, eat a minion in your deck and gain its stats. Death Rattle, add it to your hand. Oh, it's 8 mana. Never mind. I was like, this is interesting. But like, what am I going to play this for 8? Stop it. Stop it, chat. None of that. Rotheart Dryad. 1 mana, 1/1. Death Rattle, draw a minion that costs 7 or more. So good with like Skull of the Minari, but then, you know, it's only as good as Skull of the Minari is. This in Reno slot? Yeah, as long as we have enough. Sure, yeah, probably. Why Death Rattle? Yeah. Too bad, Kobold. Yeah, but you can only run one. You can only run one Kobold in a Reno slot pile. Could be interesting with Dorian. Yeah, I don't want to quite give it a 2. I guess real soft 2. I think this is all right. This could do something. Probably not good enough to be a Giants tutor. Tutor the Giants with it. That's actually interesting, not gonna lie. You could pull your Barbara. Oh, yeah, you could. It's interesting. I don't know. I'll give it a 2. Something like this is it's a 1-cost card that tutors something general but can be made to be specific, you know? So, like, even if it doesn't see immediate play, it's like, It's got applications somewhere, surely. Archdruid of Thorns. 2 mana, 3/2. Battlecry. Gain the death rattles of your minions that died this turn. I don't think this is a Mind Warlock card. Shellfish Mill. But like, we have better things to interact with that than this. I don't think this is a Mind Warlock card. Mind Warlock Boomer? Yeah, it is a bit boomer, isn't it, at this point? I'm going to give that a 1, just because I don't think it's better than anything we're currently doing. Oh, like, I'd have to look at the death rattles, I guess, a bit more, because it could be that we could, like, trade off some big juicy thing, and then this just copies one death rattle and it ends up being all right, just tempo-wise, but I don't know. Fractured Power, 2 mana, destroy one of your mana crystals in 2 turns, gain 2. So you play this on 2, your next turn you have 2 mana crystals, but the turn after that you have 5, right? It just seems like a very mildly scuffed Wild Growth. I don't think it's bad. Isn't it? Isn't it decent? The text is funny. Look at what Warlocks need just to mimic a fraction of our power. That's funny. I don't know. I think this is decent. I'm into it. I think that's a 3. I would probably play that in... Oh my goodness, we could play it in even Warlock. I mean, I would play this in Warlock decks for sure. Like value Renathal, Renopile, Warlocks, I'd play that for sure. I'll give it a 3. Then we have Sleep Paralysis. 5 mana, Assassinate, or you could summon 2 3/6 demons with Taunt that also can attack. This card is embarrassing, chat. Why is this card the worst thing I've ever seen in my whole life? Isn't even this just stupid? How is this card as bad as it is? It's like actually just awful. It is so awful. Both sides of this are separately awful, and together they make a... You know how when you fuse things, they're greater than the sum of their parts? I think you fuse these two things, and they're worse than the sum of their parts, all right? Yeah, obviously, they're not, like the fact that you could choose either. But yeah, it's a 1. Wallow the Wretched. 7 mana, 6/6. While this is in your hand or deck, it gains a copy of every dark gift given to your minions. Have we seen a dark gift card for Warlock yet? No. So far it's just the neutral ones. There's a couple of decent ones. Discover a Death Rattle minion with a dark gift. Reduce the cost of minions in your hand with dark gifts. Ooh. I'm not going to give it a 1, but like it's like the type of 1 where you can play with it, and that's fine. A lot of these cards feel like they forgot to put Fandral in neutral core. True. Worst thing I've seen, Marshy the Demon Hunter Legendary is up there. The Demon Hunter Legendary at least has like interesting things that you could do with it. This is just awful with no upside. Like the Demon Hunter Legendary, the transform stuff. Charge Wind Fury. Yeah, it's just spicy. Like you could do stuff with it. But I think it's a 1. Like I think it's the type of 1 where if you want to play with it, you can, and you can get away with it. But I don't think this is like actually a good card that people will play in their decks to have good cards in their deck, if you know what I mean. Rotten Apple. 2 mana, restore 12 health to your hero. For the next 2 turns, deal 3 damage to your hero. Is this a 3? Isn't this a good Demon Seed deck? Or Demon Seed card? So you get 12 right away, and then It triggers your stuff twice. Isn't this really solid? This is 3 flesh giant ticks off of this thing. First you heal, then you deal twice. You hate how this card is worded. It does need more text. Like, I don't think this is gonna like move Demon Seed up a tier or anything like that, but I think this is a good card for that deck, isn't it? Surely. I'll give it a 3. Even Warlock? I think for this to be good, it has to have upside for the damage portion of it. I don't think it's good for just heal 12. I think you have to want to damage your hero for it to be good. And I don't think even Warlock is really there anymore. Like, you want to be a low health total just to play Molten Giant, but like, even Warlock is in the like, you play this if you really want to tier right now, not in the like it's good. And I don't think this is good with it. So I don't know. Like, if you were running Amethyst Spellstone, sure. Like, if you're Spellstoning it with Rotten Apple, maybe. Now I want to try that, but like, I don't know. 3 ticks for Flesh Giant. Yeah, I said that earlier. That's why I'm giving it a 3. Like, it seems really good for Demon Seed, for Flesh Giant there. But yeah. Avant Gardening. All right. That was funny. Normal Gardening is so passe. So 2 mana, discover a Death Rattle minion with a Dark Gift. I think this is not good in Wild. It's a 1. Excuse me. But maybe you still play it if you're running a Dark Gift deck. But like, Overgrown Horror. 5 mana, 4/5 or 4/6 taunt. So it does have taunt on it. It's like it has some immediate impact, even if it's not that much. Reduce the cost of minions in your hand with Dark Gifts by 2. And like, most of the Dark Gift discoverers are cheap, right? And they're all under this. So you can go 2 into 2 or 3 into 4 into this. It's not bad. Discount 3 things on curve. If you're going to run Dark Gifts, I think you run this, but like a Dark Gift deck, not if you're just running Xavius, because Xavius is independently good. But yeah, still a 1. All right, that's the end of Warlock, so we got one more to go. I think Warlock... Yeah, Warlock got a couple of good things, right? I gave 2 3s for Warlock, didn't I? The ramp spell and the heal spell. Warlock, I think that's the best card so far. Like, Rogue got some really good cards, right? So, yeah, Rogue, I think, got at least a 3. Maybe it got 2 3s, I forget. But anyways, so Warlock got a couple good cards at least. I'm going to be right back. And I'm back. Is this card worse or better than Alex's Champion? That's a good point. Sheesh. It makes me sad. Alex draws his Champion. Sorry, let me do this. So on to Warrior, we have Brood Keeper. So this is if you're holding a dragon, equip a 2/2 sword. It's a 2 for 2/3. I played this in the Theory Craft and it didn't even seem that good. And it does kind of make me sad that like Alex draws his Champion missed her window. Like the good cheap dragon activators and dragons themselves came out, I think, like just a year too late for Alex Champion to have a little bit of a time in the spotlight. Now I just don't even really care about that effect anymore. And same thing with this is like, you know, it's got almost the same stats, just one attack short. Just whether or not you have a dragon in hand, and then you get a 2/2 weapon if you have a dragon, which is you think is good value, but I don't know. It kind of like I would compare it more to Merc Spark Eel than, you know, to something else. And like I don't know, Merc Spark Eel is not there, so I think this is a 1. Unlucky. A few years too late. Siphoning Growth. 1 mana, destroy a friendly minion to gain 8 armor. Do we have Death Rattles we want to kill in Warrior? This is like better Dark Pact, right? But what are we killing with it? There's nothing we want to die, right? It's just like if our throwaway minions, like our 2 mana 2/2 that draws 2 cards, if that's still around, we just use this. Kill your Ancient Totem after your skipper turn. Eggs from location. Well, yeah, that's sort of the intention for this, but I don't think we're going to play that in Wild. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we're trying to kill with this. So I almost want to give this a 1 just because I don't see where it's going to manifest, but I think it's a 2 mana. It's a 2-star quality card. I just don't know what the rest of the deck looks like, so I guess I'll give it a hesitant 2. Then we have Scrumbus to Madness. So 3 mana, discover a friendly dragon that died this game, resummon it. Is our best dragon the new one, Yasandra? Is that all we got? If you could get 10 Trasher down pretty fast, you know, that's alright. 3 mana for a 10 Trasher. Well, it is looking like the only thing. Yeah, I don't really see it. You wouldn't put Siphoning Growth in Arena Warrior? I don't know that I would, to be honest. Maybe. Like, Dark Pact, I've tried in Reno Warlock, and it has not felt good. Because Reno Warlock doesn't have anything that I want to be dead. Like you want to be able to Dark Pact your own Mana Geodes. You want to Dark Pact your Crystallizer so you can get it back with Raised Dead, as far as like playing it in Demon Seed. But like you're only playing this to gain 8 armor. I don't know. Maybe I am undervaluing it. Not gonna lie. Like I could definitely be like too hung up on wanting something to be dead. But the fact that it's only 1 for 8 armor at the cost of destroying something, and it's never like you're destroying something and you want it to be gone. Barov. All right. Okay. All right. We have Barov. Oh, Barov. Oh, this is so cool with Barov. All right, I'm in. 3-star card? What do you think, Barkley? He has no opinion. All right, I'm in. Barov was enough. Maybe. I think. Yeah, almost a 3-star card. 2 or 3. Probably 3. Bear off good. This is doo-doo. Clutch of Corruption. So 2 mana, location, 2 durability. Choose a friendly dragon, summon a 0/2 egg that hatches into a copy of it. So this is another thing you'd want to destroy with the thingamajig. But like, what friendly dragon are we? It's like if we could get Menagerie Warrior going and get 10 Trasher down really fast. You know, playing that alongside this is pretty good. But then you'd have to have a way to like buff the eggs so they can attack, because I don't think you want to run, like, you might still run the destroy something to gain 8 armor, but I think you really want more to make use of the 0/2 bodies. And how are we doing that in Warrior? It's made for Yasandra. You're right, but that's a standard level combo that we're playing Wild. I'm trying to think of like, is something good we can do with it in Wild? I don't think there is. So I think I'd give it a 1, but I could see it being a 2. Then we have Egg Basher. So 4 mana, 3/5, deal 1 damage to a minion and give a +4 attack. That's a 1. I mean, we like the 2 for 2/3 that does the same thing but only 2 attack would see play before this. It's a pretty stupid looking card. We have Tortilla. So Tortilla is going to be pretty funny. I don't know. So you run this with Chemical Spell, even in Standard, and you run Hydration Station or whatever, and it's like an unkillable taunt. So every time you Chemical Spell into this, you're going to win against aggro in Wild, right? But like, how often is that happening? Can we make that happen consistently? We have that neutral 5-cost Spell Tutor. Hoji quest, and this ends it. It ends something. Recruit Warrior. Chemical Spell is just better. Like, we don't like Recruit Warrior is going to be worse than this. So we're going to Chemical Spell this, or we're going to do nothing with it. That's my opinion. Like, I think it's in a you would be building a Wild version of the standard Big Warrior deck. Like, the Big Warrior deck in Standard is going to be this Chemical Spell and Hydration Station, and you're going to use like Ham and other stupid things, like Ziliax as your alternate taunts, and then this will just be one of the things you summon. So like, I think that's going to be like the benefit of that is it's going to be a really anti-aggro deck, right? You're going to have all the shield shatter tools in there. It's going to be a worse win condition than just running Odin, though. So like, I think this is a 1-star card. What's Crimson Expanse? Choose a damaged minion, summon a copy of it that goes dormant for a turn. Chat, is this real? This exists? I had no idea. Interesting though. Yeah, it's cute. Hey. Yeah, Crazed Alchemist is pretty funny with this. It's true. Yasandra, 7 mana, 8/5 dragon, taunt, death rattle, summon a random dragon for each time Yasandra has died this game. Obviously, you're meant to recur this a bunch of times with the other dragon support, but I don't think that's Wild powerful, so I'll give it a 1. Afflicted Devastator, 4 mana, 6/6 dragon, battlecry, deal 3 damage to all friendly minions, death rattle, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. If this was reversed, I would say it was good, but it is not, so I think it is bad. I will give it a 1. Then we have Dark Rider, 1 mana, 1/1 demon. If you're holding a dragon, discover a dragon with a dark gift. Menagerie Warrior support. So that's a good demon to run if you're running dragons already. So if you hold a dragon, you discover a dragon with a dark gift on it. That's not bad, honestly. That's like a good Menagerie card. But I think this is only as good as Menagerie is, so I'm still probably going to give it a 1, but it's almost a 2. It's a pretty solid card. You already have a solid demon, though, Patches. I think that's fine. Like, you don't want to only have Patches as far as demons. Like, having other good demons to run is good, too. Like, as soon as that's dead, you're out the demon tag. Ominous Nightmares, 1 mana, shadow, deal 1 damage to all minions. So it's another one of those, it's another one of the, like, pure power creep spells. So you're dealing 1 damage to all minions, or you give it damage minion +2/+2. So it's like Whirlwind, but with upside. It's also a shadow spell. Is this the first shadow spell Warriors ever had? It's at least the first good one, right? So Theataring your opponent's Svalna thing is now bad in Warrior like it's bad in Druid. Because if you steal that with Theatar in, you guys know Svalna, right? Like, I forget what it's called, the stupid thing it makes. But yeah, so like Vision of Darkness. So you discover a shadow spell, but you can do it forever. In Druid, if you Theatar the Vision of Darkness away from your opponent, you always discover the 5-cost card that summons 2 1/2 poisonous spiders, because that's the only shadow spell they have. So it's like it's infinite spiders. But if you do it in a class that doesn't have a shadow spell, you'll discover priest shadow spells. So like now if you do that, you always get this in Warrior. I think that's the biggest impact it'll have in Wild, not gonna lie. Not that that's big impact. I don't know. This is decent, isn't it? Like, nothing wants to run Whirlwind is the thing. Like, if Grim Patron was a thing, sure, but yeah, I don't know. And that's the end. I think this set is seeming really fun for Standard. Like, I played Theorycraft and the Brawl, and in both cases, like, I had a lot of fun. I think that, like, Standard is going to have a good time with this expansion. Again, if you missed the first part, my previous video, I have the neutrals in the first 5 or 6 classes. I forget where I cut it off. Up through Mage. So if you want to, if you started with this video, you can just go watch that video for the rest of the takes. But I think this set's going to be really fun in Standard, and it's like strong enough that Marshy can do his goofball Marshy stuff, but none of the things in this set has me really worried. The closest would be that one Druid card that can do the naturalize cycling. Not because I'm afraid that it'll be an early combo deck, but because Mill Druid can just like burn 10, 16 of your cards. Like every once in a while. So like that'll be frustrating. But I don't know that that's going to like take Mill Druid from something that's not played a lot to something that's played a lot. We'll have to see. But as far as I can tell, there's nothing in this set that's going to like instantly break Wild and make it unreasonable. But there's a lot of stuff that is at the power level of my little silly shenanigans that I can goof off with. So does feel like a legitimately maybe lower than usual power set for Wild, but it's like right in the sweet spot, I think, as far as my personal preference. A lot of stuff I'm excited to toy with, but nothing that scares me like Wild's going to suddenly become worse than it currently is. If you're watching this on my YouTubes, remember to like, subscribe, send it to all your friends, watch all my videos, and all that other stuff. And thank you so much for watching, and goodbye forever. How's that? We do good? Did you like the star system? I don't normally do stars. You like it? Did you hate it? Did it bother you that I was using 1 through 3 instead of 1 through 5? This is your only opportunity to give feedback. I'll never consider. You give it a 3 out of 3? Nice. But yeah, I'll never take feedback again on principle. Make the next one 1 through 7. I think you only gave out 1 2-star rating. I gave out a few. I definitely gave out several. I know I did. Especially in the neutrals. I feel like I gave a lot of those a 2. 3 out of 3, thank you. It was chumbo out of potato. Very good, very good. All right, well, I'm going to go play with this dog, I guess. And let me see. Can you give a summary of the 3 rated cards? I gave Xavius a 3. So all of my tiers are like, have a lot of, like variance within them, right? So I didn't have like, this tier is so broken it's going to be incredible type of tier. I had unplayable, might be played, and will be played. So like a card doesn't have to be absurdly broken to be will be played, you know? So anyways, that's why Xavius got a 3. So Xavius got a 3. The Warlock ramp spell, the Warlock, what was the second one? The Warlock heal spell, the Rogue 1/3 that you play things that you've already played and draw a card. I gave out more 3s than that. It's not like there weren't any, but there were others. You can play non-broken cards in the game of Hearthstone? Probably not. I take it all back. All right. Well, anyways, I'll miss you guys. Miss you forever until I don't. And goodbye.